They're based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earning.com for full details.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by iHeartRadio, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KVET AM Austin. Your home for the Horn. Make us the #1 preset in your car and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Let's get fired up on this Friday afternoon in Austin, Texas. Glad to have you with us here on the Craig Way Show. I am Cameron Parker, filling in for Craig Way, who is on his yearly sabbatical out to North Carolina, where Craig will take some time off, some duly time off needed for Mr. Craig Way, who's out in North Carolina with his wonderful wife, Linda, and his family. Craig reached out to me yesterday. A lot of mudslides out in the mountains of North Carolina, unfortunately affecting a lot of people, affecting the travel for Craig. So take a little bit of a longer way to get out to the East Coast, to the beach. But Craig is doing well and excited to be able to fill in for you on today's show. Thanks to Andrew Simmel yesterday for holding it down as we close out the week, and a busy week across the 40 acres and into the sports world, getting closer and closer to Texas football kicking off against Ohio State. Crazy to think that we are almost under 2 months away from the first day of the college football season, of course, week 0, and then Texas beginning week 1 in Columbus, taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes in a game that we do know will be a big noon kickoff on Fox, but also a game that I think is going to feature possibly the number 1 and number 2 teams in the country, Texas, Ohio State, likely top 5. So we'll get into that discussion as well. But here's a rundown of what's to come on today's show. Of course, you can always join our program by texting the word Texas to 81530, followed by your message. Would love to hear from you on today's program as we touch on a variety of topics. First hour, get to some Texas baseball news, some breaking news, actually, some good news involving the Texas Longhorns baseball team. New addition out of the transfer portal as Jim Schlossnagle and staff are cleaning up. And also a postseason award was just given to a Texas pitcher, and he's joining some elite company because the names he is joining all played at the next level, all have their name retired at UFCU Dish Falk Field. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Up next, 2:15, Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast will join us. He's going to talk a little NBA draft, Trey Johnson's fit with the Washington Wizards, some winners, some loser, overall thoughts, and maybe a look at next year's NBA season, because it's never too early to talk about next year, right? Maybe some thoughts on what teams he think can contend, including the Houston Rockets, who added Longhorn legend Kevin Durant. A sneaky good upgrade, perhaps, for H-Town. Of course, it's Friday, so that means we do always have Inconceivable on a Friday. It means we travel to the more flaccid, the lower 48 states, and reach for that low-hanging fruit. We will do so on today's program. That's 2:40, 3 o'clock hour. Fridays in the summer mean the music survey. And just because Craig is out does not mean we will not go ahead and do it. Cole Dixon, our wonderful Cole Dixon, who has been on this program a couple times, filling in as producer for Craig or myself. He will be joining us in studio at 3 o'clock. Apparently, he's bringing his whole family. It's a really big deal. So we're going to get to his music survey throughout the 3 o'clock hour. 4 o'clock hour, CJ Vogel from On Texas Football will join us from the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana. Arch Manning and a handful of other top college quarterbacks across the country, including Cade Klubnik, Sawyer Robertson, a handful of others, John Mateer, the new Oklahoma quarterback, all in action, all speaking with the media. Going to get CJ's thoughts on Arch Manning, what he has said, what he has done so far, and also a look at the Texas football recruiting drill. 3 commits announcing their decision today. We expect all 3 not to go in favor of Texas. So we'll get CJ's thoughts on that. How will Sark and his staff maybe move on from that? What will they target instead? It's been a really good class, starting to shape up to be a really good class, rather. And we'll talk about that. Kenny Baker's had a phenomenal June. It's been a month to Kenny Baker, I think. But a couple guys we expect to possibly pledge to Texas this next week, especially in July. So we'll talk all of that. CJ posted his positional football rankings for Texas on TexasFootball.com. You might be surprised what comes in as dead last for Texas. Might be surprised at what comes in at number 1, but we'll talk about all that and more. Arch Manning, mentioned him a few seconds ago. Bruce Feldman had a fantastic piece on The Athletic about Arch Manning and his parents, Cooper and Ellen, and how they have raised him. We'll talk a little bit of that in the 4 o'clock hour. We're also going to hear a little bit from Steve Sarkisian. He jumped on the Third and Longhorn podcast hosted by Nick Shuley, a fantastic podcast. Of course, it's Nick, Derek Johnson, Alex Okafor, Bozzy Whitaker, Rod Babers, Jeremy Hills. They had on the coach, Coach Sark, and you probably have heard some of the sound bites. They will get you fired up, if not, and just a hell of a recruiting pitch. So we will play some of that throughout today's show. Won't get to all of it. Probably will have to get some of it next week as well. But Sark had some interesting comments that have gone viral across the interweb. So we'll get to that. We'll talk about whatever is happening in Utah with Ace Bailey, the former Rutgers commit, who still has not shown up in Salt Lake City. Walter Clayton Jr. has, but Ace Bailey has not. Arthur Kaluma has found his NBA team. We will discuss that as well. So a real fun show for you here on this Friday afternoon. Okay, before we hit this first break and talk to my guy, Donnie, mention some breaking news from Texas baseball. The first bit of news, they have added their 9th player out of the transfer portal. This time, adding a pitcher for Slosh and pitching coach Max Weiner. And you guessed it, another lefty. This time, Hayden LeFew from Wake Forest, fantastic baseball program, has announced on Twitter he is committing to the University of Texas. LeFew went 4-1 this past season, 4 saves, a 4.46 ERA, almost 60 strikeouts and over 30 innings pitched this season. Appears to have at least 2 years of eligibility left. Now, of course, I'm still trying to figure out how all this works. I know Max Ballou technically could come back, but he'll be probably a first, second round draft pick. Jared Spencer listed as a senior. Could he come back? I've given up on figuring that out. But I do know that LeFew is the 3rd left-handed pitcher to join the Texas staff this upcoming season. Of course, Slosh talked about it when he was hired by Texas. He wants to add lefty arms and lefty bats. And Texas really did not have, I think, Porter Brown, I remember he being a lefty, but, when Slosh took over, I think the only left-handed guy was Max Ballou, the only batter, truly left-handed batter. So Ballou obviously will be a first or second round draft pick. So Texas adds in their 9th edition, their 3rd left-handed pitcher. And this is coming from Ian Veith with Inside Texas. Evan wrote that LeFew has tremendous upside. He's got a great fastball changeup combo. Fastball reaches up to 96 miles per hour, and his changeup was one of the best pitches analytically in the ACC all season long. Of course, the Demon Deacons have been a fantastic baseball program last couple of years. So Texas now has added 9 players from the portal. And let me run down the guys they've added. So Luke Dotson from Mississippi State, who pitched well against Texas, junior, lefty. Cal Higgins, graduate, 1 year with Texas from Western Kentucky, lefty, and then, of course, LeVue. So that's 3 pitches, 3 lefties who are going to tremendously round out the bullpen and give Texas some more depth. At the plate, Josh Livingston from Wichita State, lefty. Jack Morneck Butler, senior, lefty. Caleb Freeman from Georgia State, lefty. Listed as a switch hitter, but he can bat lefty. And then Aiden Robbins from Seton Hall, junior. He's a right-handed hitter. Timo Becerra from Stanford, graduate, shortstop, right-handed hitter. And then Carson Tinney from Notre Dame, junior, a right-handed hitter. So some good additions for Jim Schlossnagle in this Texas staff, really trying to beef up the depth and really targeting left-handed bats and left-handed pitchers. Okay, the other bit of breaking news mentioned that there was a postseason award given away today, and it was none other than lefty Dylan Fulantes, who was named the Baseball America National Freshman of the Year. He becomes just the 4th Longhorn to garner this in program history, joining Greg Swindell, whose name is on the Disch-Falk field. Kirk Dressendorfer, Dressy, also retired, and Brooks Kieschnick. Also, all 3 of those guys have their jerseys and numbers retired and honored at the Dish. Fulantes led all rookies in WHIP, a 0.88, saves 12, and second in ERA 1.94, and second in opponent batting average 185. Fulantes totaled 74 strikeouts, only gave up 12 walks over 51 innings. He was 10th in the country in saves, and his 11 saves in conference action are the most by an SEC freshman ever. In league play, Fulantes paced all conference pitchers in ERA, 1.59, WHIP, 0.85, opponent batting average, 160, and again, saves with 11. And UT did something really cool, and actually it was Jim Schlossnagle, and I'll play this on the air and also on our stream as well. And, of course, you can find it on the Texas Baseball Twitter account. But this is how Dylan Fulantes found out that he was named the Baseball America National Freshman of the Year.
When you a few things to talk about it. One thing I was just curious, when you're out there pitching, do you ever look at the names, like the names that are like not during the game, but do you ever look at the names, all the retired numbers that are out there at Disch-Falk?
Yeah. Underneath the
yeah, like Roger Clemens and those guys.
Yeah, and I see those 2 that are open right next to it in the corners over there. I just see that. I'm not gonna lie, I have envisioned my name up there before.
Really?
I really have. Yeah.
Wow.
As soon as I got here, I noticed those 2 open spots, and I was like, yeah, kind of sick to have my name up there.
You think you would stick with 99? You'd say maybe change your number at some point.
I would like to stick with 99.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you see the name Greg Swindell up there?
Yeah, I have seen that name.
Left-handed pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
How about Kurt Dressendorfer?
I've seen it. I just don't know really much about it.
Right-handed pitcher.
Right-handed.
And then Brooks Kieschnick. He's one of them. He's a pitcher and position player. Great hitter, great position player. All those guys played in the big leagues. Do you know what else they had in common? They were the Baseball America National Freshman of the Year. Just like you are.
Congrats, guys. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Honestly, really. Thank you.
And that's Jim Schlossnagle, Texas head baseball coach, congratulating Dylan Fulantes and surprising him today with that award. Again, Dylan Fulantes named the Baseball America National Freshman of the Year. The lefty, a fantastic pitcher, and likely will be garnering one of those starting spots in the rotation in the weekend come next season. Okay, just getting started here on this Fire Me Up Friday. Up next, Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast joins us to talk all things NBA, including Trey Johnson's fit. Yeah, not only his fit in Washington, but yeah, his actual draft night fit. Up next year on The Craig Way Show.
Wake up with Harge and Henry in the morning kickoff.
Come on, go here. Sounding like Darth Vader. I'm going Lou Ross. Lou Ross? Lou Ross. Yeah. Come on, man. Don't blow my head up. I'm walking bow-legged now. You shouldn't have never told me that. Never. That's what it's all about right there. Don't never mind. A hairline like mine.
Weekdays at 7, 1300 The Zone.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Grand. That's grand. Enter it now.
AM 1300 The Zone.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
Are you like millions of Americans who avoided filing their taxes this year because you're afraid you'll owe the IRS thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Tax Relief Advocates has the solution. We can file your back tax years and may be able to reduce or even eliminate what you owe. With over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, we've helped over 100,000 Americans just like you permanently and painlessly resolve their IRS debt. A resolution specialist is waiting to speak to you now, who will let you know what tax debt reduction you may qualify for. Don't wait. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call our tax relief hotline now to see what you qualify for at 800-511-2503. 800-511-2503. Again, that's 800-511-2503. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well-qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card below 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price we agree on is the exact price you'll pay.
I was at a Chevy dealer recently, found the car I wanted, agreed on a price, and made it all the way to the financing table. Before they mentioned the $2,500 mandatory dealer package they added. Mandatory, as in they refused to remove it. So I left and went to Henna.
For straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, come in and together let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code RADIO for an extra 5% off.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4th of July sale and get 30% off paints and stains June 27th through July 7th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
May I help you? I just wanted to request a late checkout, please. Of course. That's $30 per hour for up to 4 hours. Huh. Okay, but if you can offer a late checkout, then that probably means no one is staying in that room. So if it's empty, maybe I can just stay a few extra hours. Oh, aren't you adorable?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The Round Rock Express play here. 1300 The Zone. It's the Craig Way Show. with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Just getting rolling here on this Fire Me Up Friday. Glad to have you with us, Cameron Parker, as we get you set for your weekend. And now excited to talk a little NBA draft right now and bringing in my guy, Donnavan Smoot. Donnie, man, this is long overdue. You got the UT shirt on. I love it, man. How you been, man?
Been good, man. Appreciate you for having me. You know what I'm saying? This is written. You know what I'm saying? This is Daily Texan lore coming to life. So it's awesome.
It is, and later on, CJ Vogel from On Texas Football will be joining us. Also, Daily Texan lore. So it's fun to see how your careers have taken off. Again, Donnie with the Deep 3 podcast. Y'all been putting out some incredible content on YouTube, on Twitter. I feel like every other day, I have one of my friends who didn't go to Texas will send me a tweet from you or Isaac. I'm like, I want to be the guy like, hey, I went to college with this guy. But, you guys are blowing up. You had some great pre-draft coverage. But let's start with the NBA draft, man. We'll begin with, the basic cliche winners and losers, but your biggest takeaway, your biggest winners from the NBA draft so far.
Yeah, I think the biggest winner is the Spurs. I think to walk away with Dylan Harper, you walk away with the second best player in the draft, and then to get a steal at Carter Bryant at 14, who really, really fits everything that they're doing. Like the Spurs, you have Wemby as your big man, and then you have De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Now you have kind of this like weird logjam that you're going to figure out at guard, but it's a lot of talent there. Their wing depth is very, very lacking right now, to say the least. And so to get somebody in there, 6'9", very versatile, can run in transition, can be very athletic, and just give them a more like well-rounded. I think the value that they got was fantastic. I think Charlotte finally getting somebody who looks like they can play actual basketball for them is massive at 4 with Concanippel. So I think San Antonio and Charlotte were the two people that I walked away from the first round and from the overall draft night thinking like, okay, you guys are on the right track. You guys are doing the best thing.
How do you think De'Aaron Fox will be able to fit with Harper? Because I think obviously, there was a lot of speculation about KD to the Spurs. And I think when San Antonio got in the draft process and settled on Dylan Harper, they thought, okay, we don't even need Kevin Durant. We have this kid in Harper. But are you worried a little bit about the fit possibly with Dylan and De'Aaron?
A little bit, just because one, it is kind of interesting that they're both lefties. They're both point guards. De'Aaron Fox he's had like one season where he was really, really a good shooter, but it hasn't necessarily gotten back to that level. He was hurt all of last year playing with a broken pinky, and he actually showed me a picture of the pinky, and it was absolutely disgusting. It was he played through something that was really, really rough. But I think that him and his shooting is going to be a very, very key thing between him and Dylan Harper, who still has to adjust to the NBA game. You see a lot of times young guards coming into the NBA. The learning curve for them is normally a little bit bigger than like a wing or a big man. So I think in time the fit will be okay. And I think that they're both talented enough. I think De'Aaron Fox has been around the league long enough to where it makes sense and he knows, kind of how to fit. But ultimately, I do think that it's going to be one of De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper and then Stephon Castle, just because of Castle's versatility, his ability to defend guards and to take that pressure off of those two guys. So they'll probably stagger them. But in terms of just putting your best 5 guys out on the floor, we'll see if Harper can ultimately reach that. I like him as a player. I think he's really good, but he still has to, come in and show that he can be that level of player.
I'm glad you mentioned the Hornets because I think a lot of people forget they are a basketball franchise, even though they haven't really acted like one for a couple decades. But the Knipple pick, I think, is fantastic. I think he can fit with LaMelo. I love Liam McNeely. I think that was a really weird UConn team. I mean, he's 6'7". He can shoot the ball. He's very athletic. Those are 2 guys. Even Kalkbrenner, 4-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. They have some pieces.
Yeah, and they also had a weird night because they traded away Mark Williams, who this is the second time that they traded away Mark Williams, right? He got traded away at the deadline to the Lakers. That trade gets vetoed, and Mark Williams just comes back and it's like, I guess I'm still here. And you knew that they weren't really super high on him because of all the injury concerns. So they trade him, and they have no bigs. And so to be able to go in, in this draft and really replenish that depth, that really is good. I think this is kind of the last year that you can look at Charlotte and you can look at this core of LaMelo and Brandon Miller and really put a lot of eggs into that basket before you start to have real conversations of, is it time to move on from LaMelo Ball? Just because the first 2 years were really, really good there. They made it to the play-in and everything looked on the way up. And then the last 3 years have looked as disinteresting in terms of like a basketball product as possible. And so last year they had their first-year coach in Charles Lee, who came over from the Celtics. That's a championship-level coach. That's somebody who actually wants to build a culture. And if LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller, if they either, one, don't want to buy in, or two, just aren't out on the floor to be a part of the culture that he's trying to build, I don't know how far that's going to go. But like you said, for all the guys that they picked in this draft, they are all really, really high floor guys. And I think that for a team that's been really shaky for the last couple of years, having that level of stability, that's really, really good for them.
And, of course, Brandon Miller, who unfortunately he went down with that season-ending injury back in January, he was starting to heat up really well. It could be a real fun League Pass team this next season. Okay, winners, so you had Spurs, Hornets. What about losers?
Losers is easily the Brooklyn Nets. Easily the Brooklyn Nets. They
just drafted another point guard.
Probably. They had the most interesting draft outlook out of anybody because it's never happened in league history. You've never had anybody with 5 first-round picks in one specific draft, and you walk away and nobody feels good because you take a point guard at 8 in Yair Denham that everybody understands it's a reach, but when you have 5 first-round picks, you're kind of okay with it because you still have 4 more. But then you go and you draft another point guard. And then after that point guard, you get another point guard, and none of them can shoot. None of them show the ability to be able to play with each other. So now you just have backfilled your entire depth chart, and you know that some of the guys that you have on the roster right now aren't even going to be there. I don't understand what their actual plan was, and I've asked the Nets fans in my life, like, how do you feel about the picks? And they were like, honestly, like, Danny Wolf is cool, but terrible is the word that they've used. They are not super happy with how the draft went, and it feels like a waste of 5 first-round picks, and it feels like mismanagement.
Yeah, I wonder if obviously there was a lot of trade speculation. It kind of felt like they were trying to, move some of those picks, but maybe what they were getting offered was so low they weren't really expecting to have to draft all 5. I mean, they go with, Igor Demon from BYU, kind of a pass first guard. Honestly, I like Yakishonas just as much as him. I wonder if they did not expect him to be there at 19, and ironically enough, he was there at 19. Definitely could have gone with somebody else instead of Demon at 8, but what a weird draft overall. And where do you think they are in terms of the chase for Giannis in whatever, a year or two?
Yeah, I think in a year, they could have been further along and we'll see, right? Like I'm not, like, obviously I've done all of my research, and everybody could be wrong about all of these draft prospects. Like 2 or maybe all 3 of these point guards come out and maybe they find something and maybe it all works and they're all great players. But it doesn't seem like whenever Giannis, let's just say he requests a trade after next year, it doesn't seem like Brooklyn has the assets now to go and entice Milwaukee to make a trade, because a lot of teams, if you are not trading Milwaukee their picks back and you're not giving them the ability to tank, then why am I trading Giannis? Just to be bad and then hope for you to be bad? I would rather do that and then have some young players. And so for Brooklyn, if none of these guys show elite level promise in the first year, I don't know if they're going to be able to trade for Giannis. So one, like, we have to see if Giannis is even going to want to trade. And then 2, we're going to have to see where Brooklyn and their development really goes to, because it's going to have to be A1 for them to get into any type of sweepstakes for an elite level player if they want to kind of, jumpstart their rebuild in that way.
Talking with Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast. Okay, our guy Trey Johnson, 1 year in Austin, fantastic season for him. He goes to the Washington Wizards. How do you see his fit being the nation's capital?
I think he's going to be awesome. there. I think that is exactly what they needed. The Wizards had the worst offense in the league last year. They had the second worst 3-point percentage shooting season in the league last year. Trey Johnson can help both of those things instantly. I think the one thing for young players, especially very, very young players who are doing like one and done, is kind of the two things that you have to look out for is how do their bodies hold up under an 82-game season as opposed to like a 30, 35-game season? And then how do they adjust on defense just because they are, still growing into their bodies? Even aside with all that, Trey Johnson can shoot. Trey Johnson can score. And a lot of their guys, in terms like Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, Kashan George, they are defense-leaning players. Like they show some promise offensively, but they still have a lot of ways to grow. It's the opposite for Trey Johnson. I think more the learning curve is going to be more on the defensive side of the ball as opposed to offense. And so now when he comes in, I actually think it's going to take a lot of pressure off of Alex Sarr, off of Bub Carrington, because they're not going to be asked to go out and score 25 every single night. And you also have a situation where the Wizards just traded away Jordan Poole. They brought in CJ McCollum, and they got Chris Middleton at the deadline. Those are two veterans who know how to score the basketball, who know how to be in the league, and can mentor Trey Johnson into being a very, very good player in this league. So I think in terms of opportunity, in terms of fit, and just my skill set fitting into what we need, and then having all of this knowledge around you, Trey Johnson is in one of the best positions of a lot of the rookies in this class.
Yeah, I agree. They shipped out Kuzma last year, traded Jordan Poole to the Pelicans, brought in CJ McCollum, and I think McCollum, Milton can be two guys that can be great mentors to a guy like Trey Johnson. Trey, I think, measured in at like 6'4" at the combine. CJ 6'3". Of course, CJ's got an incredible mid-range game, and being with UT this past season, Trey Johnson can make any shot on the floor. I think the negative, I think, is just his ability to get to the basket and get around bigger defenders, but he can shoot and score from anywhere. And a really underrated part of his game is the ability to pass the ball. I mean, at the end of the season, the Texas offense was struggling, but Trey Johnson was leading the team in assists. So he's got the ability to pass as well as score. I think he's going to a great situation there, as you alluded to.
Yeah, and we had the opportunity to interview him at the combine, and we asked him, what's an area of your game that you feel is underrated, is overlooked, and he said his passing. He said, I've been a good passer since 3rd or 4th grade. My ability to see the play before it's happening is something that I do think a lot of people don't really recognize about me. So if he can keep the ball moving, even if he never becomes an elite like rim scorer or is able to really just put his head down and get to the basket, being able to still move and shoot is a very, very big skill in today's NBA. And as the Wizards rebuild, this feels like one of the first times in this like quasi rebuild post John Wall that the Wizards feel like they have direction, that they feel like they have some talented players on the roster. And the East is so bad that next year the Wizards could make a push for the play-in. So there is also the opportunity that Trey Johnson could be playing meaningful basketball minutes in his first year, which a lot of rookies, especially, rookies who go top 6, top 5, don't get the opportunity to do so early on. So he's in a great position. I'm actually very, very excited for what he could do next year.
They won 18 games last season. The Bulls got in the play-in with 39 wins. I mean, you're thinking 20 more wins, but the guys they've added, Middleton, CJ, Trey, I mean, they're, kind of winning players, and also Washington losing their 2 biggest scorers. So Trey Johnson easily could come in and he could average 22 in 5, I think, without breaking the sweat. Okay. Your thoughts on his draft night fit here as we see him in the picture with Mr. Adam Silver?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think I really do like this. Obviously, shorts with the suit is very controversial. I think that the fact that the shorts are baggy and that they give some length to the outfit is really good. It's very proportionate, right? If you're just wearing really, really tight shorts, and for a lot of these guys who are really tall, it looks like you're not really putting on, you're not wearing your outfit. You're letting the outfit wear you. I think Trey Johnson really, really stood out with his outfit. The socks were great. The loafers were fantastic. I'm giving him like a 9 out of 10. I like the color of the suit. I was a very, very big fan of this suit combo.
The navy blue is a good look. In the picture we have up, you can't see where the shorts are, but they're just below the knees, and of course the white socks with the loafers. Fantastic.
Yeah, he was killing it.
Okay. I asked you about this before the show. Out of the Rockets, Mavericks, Spurs, which NBA team going into next season would you want to be? And then over the next 5 years, which teams are you most excited for out of the Lone Star State?
Okay, so I think for next year, it 100% is the Rockets. I think the Rockets to win 50 games and then to get Kevin Durant for only the 10th pick in this draft, which is a meaningful pick. Like Kama Maluash, he went with the number 10 overall pick. He's a good player, but the Rockets have so many young players that they couldn't play everybody. And this is kind of the problem that they had last year and a little bit the year before, where you are finally getting to the point of their rebuild where you have to start making some consolidation moves and start tightening your rotation, knowing who the 9 guys are. And they had about 11 or 12 players. So drafting a rookie this year wasn't going to be all that. Dylan Brooks, thank you for your service. Like, he was actually a very, very big part of that rebuild and bringing an adult into that and a toughness into that building. But he has to go on. And then Jalen Green, obviously you would have wanted a little bit more out of a guy that you took that high in the draft a couple years ago. It just seemed like it was never going to upgrade. And so after you get rid of the number 10 overall pick and Dylan Brooks, you're essentially saying, let's go from Jalen Green to Kevin Durant. I'm going to do that every time that I have the opportunity to do that. So I think the Rockets, they're one of the big favorites, not only to win the West, but to win the title. So I think for next year, it would be them. And then for the next 5 years, I kind of have to default. Anything future related, I feel like I have to default to San Antonio because Wemby is that good and they do have a lot of talent. And these last two drafts have gone really, really well for them. So now that it feels like they're starting to round out their team, and as Wemby continues to ascend to top 10 player in the league, top 7 player in the league, they feel very, very good. Where even with Houston, their timeline, it feels like the next 3 years, especially since KD is 37, 38 years old. That's kind of the window. But Wemby's here, and he is one of the best players in the league. So I'll go San Antonio.
Run out of time here. I'll leave you with this. You mentioned you guys did a fantastic pre-draft video, Deep 3 podcast on YouTube. You mentioned you had Trey Johnson on. You also had Ace Bailey on, along with Cooper Flagg. And with all the Ace Bailey stuff going on, of course, the former Rutgers product who was drafted by the Utah Jazz, but all the reports was that he just wanted to go to Washington, refused to meet with Utah. What was the vibe that you guys got when interviewing Ace Bailey, and how do you think the situation will end up playing out?
So I mean, the vibe was cool. I liked Ace Bailey. He was very nice. He was a very fun, very energetic guy. And so he seemed like a very cool guy. I didn't have any issues on the interview. I think ultimately it's going to end up fine. He is a top 5 pick in the draft. He loves to play basketball. He's going to go out, and honestly, he's going to be in a really good basketball situation. I know that the Jazz, there's a reason why they're picking at the top of the draft, but also they have some pieces, and their head coach, Will Hardy, is a great head coach. They have Larry Markkinen. They have Walker Kessler. The Jazz, outside of last year, the Jazz have been doing this thing where they start the season and they are very, very good, and they're about 500, playing very respectable basketball, getting kind of like in the playing race, and then for draft purposes, then they start to sit everybody. Then they start to tank. But if they had finished the season playing competent basketball, they would have been in that run. I think that with Ace Bailey and him providing a skill set that they don't really have, they can get back to that immediately. So I think, yeah, you don't want to be there. Guess what? You're going to go there. You're going to get all the opportunities that you want. You're going to get paid millions of dollars to do it. You're going to be okay. And so I think everything is going to work out. And it's going to be funny to look back on it. It's like, yeah, you didn't really like it, but you have this opportunity now, and I think he'll make the most of it.
He is Donnie Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast. Donnie, thanks so much for spending some time with me here. Tell Isaac and Mojo and the gang what's up. And again, keep killing it. Y'all doing some great work out there.
Got you. I appreciate it. Yeah. I'll tell everybody you said what's up.
All right. Donnie Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast. Again, check him out on Twitter as well, at DSmoot3D, and the Deep 3 podcast on YouTube. of some fantastic NBA coverage. Those guys have been killing it since they got into the game. Okay, 2 segments in. Up next, it is Inconceivable on this Friday afternoon. And you know what that means. We travel to the more flaccid of the lower 48 states. It's time for Florida Man in Florida Woman. Up next here on The Craig Way Show.
Stuck in the same day-to-day routine that honestly sucks. Wake up, go to work, eat, sleep, repeat. Well, today doesn't have to suck. Get rid of boredom and download Call of Duty Mobile for free. Enjoy fan-favorite maps, modes, and operators from classic Call of Duty titles. Plus, new mobile exclusive content. You can even earn tons of free rewards just for playing. Did we mention you can play for free on your phone almost anywhere, anytime? Call of Duty Mobile looks and feels incredible. Characters, maps, and weapons practically leap off the screen. This game is so smooth, fast, and responsive, all on your phone. What are you waiting for? Break the boredom loop and play for free now. Call of Duty Mobile is available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store today. Rated M for mature.
Hey, Texas sports fans, Thomas J. Henry Law is thrilled to be part of UT Athletics action on and off season. Just like the athletes give it their all on the field, whether it's during practice or in the heat of the game, Thomas J. Henry Law and over 250 attorneys give it their all when it comes to helping you and your family get the justice you deserve. Whether it's on the court or in the courtroom, dedication, strategy, and teamwork are crucial. For over 30 years, Thomas J. Henry Law has been committed to securing meaningful results for the injured people and their families. Visit tjhlaw.com or call 24/7 to get the help you need.
Since 1909, the Coverts have grown with Texas, driving progress, earning trust, and serving our communities. 116 years later, my family's proud to continue this legacy at Covert Chevrolet in Bastrop, delivering exceptional service and continuing a reputation of excellence. Covert Chevrolet in Bastrop. Come see us or shop our low rates and special offers online at covertbastrop.com. Trade-in values are up, so now's the time to trade in and trade up. Covert Chevrolet, Highway 71 in Bastrop. Together, let's drive.
Hey, listen to this. All I needed was a new starter. Got a great deal on eBay. Did it myself.
Yeah, that's cool. But how about the soft purr of an upgraded exhaust when it fits just right?
For me, it's the little things, like these new windshield wipers from eBay I installed.
From small fixes to big upgrades, eBay has all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Out here, you get your hands dirty. You get to work and finish the long summer day knowing you made it count. Whether it's cutting the grass, picking the garden, frying up the grill, or washing your dog, you get things done. It's the small stuff that adds up to this life you love. At Tractor Supply, we know that feeling. And we've got the supplies and friendly advice you need to get the most out of every day, all summer long. Tractor Supply, for life out here.
After a trip to the 2025 Women's Final Four, an SEC championship in their first season, and sold-out crowds at the Moody Center, Texas women's basketball is on fire. And season tickets for 2025-26 are on sale now, starting at just $100. Longhorn Nation helped deliver the first undefeated home season in 22 years. Now it's your turn to be part of the action. Bring the energy, bring the pride, bring the Texas fight all season long. Lock in your seats today at TexasLonghorns.com.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
I love this conversation. Sophia Bush is opening up like never before, sharing her truth about her sexuality and self-discovery on the Dear Chelsea podcast. Plus, The Breakfast Club is breaking down the latest in the Diddy trial, what he said, what it means, and how close we are to a verdict. Two very powerful conversations right now on the iHeartRadio app.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
iHeartRadio Did You Know? Presented by iHeartRadio. You know, what you're listening to right now. Did you know that iHeartRadio is always free to listen to your favorite stations, podcasts, artist radio playlists, and more? Yep, free to download and free to use. But there's a next level iHeartRadio experience as well. iHeartRadio All Access, where you can search and play any song, enjoy unlimited skips, download all your music to your phone to listen offline with no connection, unlimited playlist creation, and so much more. You can try it out free for 30 days and see what the iHeartRadio All Access experience is like. Why not? Open the iHeartRadio app and in settings, tap to start your free 30-day trial. Everything you love about free iHeartRadio plus so much more with iHeartRadio All Access. iHeartRadio, #1 for music, radio, and podcasting, all in one app.
iHeartRadio.
Burnt Orange, Bebo, and Ball. Craig Way is talking it all. Now back to the Craig Way Show on 1300 The Zone.
Inconceivable! 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 You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Let's get it on a Friday afternoon. It is inconceivable. And we'll begin with the NBA draft before we travel to Florida. With the 9th pick of the 2025 NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors selected Colin Murray Boyles from the University of South Carolina. Now, if you've seen this, it's gone a little bit viral. After Murray Boyles was selected, he stood up, buttoned his suit jacket. Good-looking suit, by the way. Appeared to shake his head and then dropped an F-bomb before hugging his family. Now, of course, this is being broadcasted on ESPN, so everyone sees this and goes, oh, man, he is pissed. He got picked by the Raptors. Wasn't a great look, but Colin Murray Boyles said, his explanation was a little bit different. Here is his interview on NBA TV explaining his viral reaction and his F-bomb after being drafted by the Toronto Raptors.
Colin, newest member of the Toronto Raptors. How are you soaking in this dream come true moment?
I don't even know. This is crazy. Being with this organization means so much. They're a winning organization. I just want to make everybody better around me. So that's what I'm going to do.
I know that in these moments, there's always so much going on. Want to give you a chance to explain your reaction in the moment.
Oh, WTF for sure. WTF all the way till my name got called. Man, it was crazy. But geez, I almost shed a tear. But I try to keep my composure. But it's surreal. Like I dreamed of this when I was a kid. Like you never know you're gonna be there till you're there for real. So it's crazy.
Beautiful. Okay, you got your passport ready?
Oh yeah, my passport in my book bag.
Okay, this is not the same reaction as like Ace Bailey refusing to fly to Utah. This is, I think, more of a F-bomb as in, oh man, I can't believe it finally happened. So either way, congratulations to Colin Murray Boyles. I think if you're a Raptors fan, this is kind of a non-story here, but nonetheless, little funny. Okay, enough with the sports world here. Summertime, usually everybody's going on their vacations. Like Craig Way, who's gone for like 3 months, I think. No, he'll be back in a couple of weeks. SEC Media Days. But everyone goes on their vacations, summer vacations, right? It's family time. And most people, you'll do all the touristy stuff. You'll go on tours. If you go to New York City, right, what do? Statue of Liberty. You go up there. You may go to, a Yankees game, a Mets game. You might get a tour. You might go to Broadway. Well, if you're going to NYC, here's another touristy thing you could do. How about a Rat Whisperer guided tour? Yep. No, I'm not kidding. Nope. How about this? And this has gone viral, of course, on social media, but a woman in New York City is taking New York City visitors on a guided tour of the city's worst rodent hotspots. That's disgusting. Suzanne Reisman, leader of the Garbage in Rats in New York City walking tour. I think you can book it right now on one of those apps. What is it? Figaro. Clad in a fuzzy fall rat ears like a bizarro mouseketeer, the varmint savant takes guests through some of the city's most rat-infested sites while spilling retch-worthy facts on the critters' habits, sanitation, and other things. Quote, rats love to go up to the poop, unquote. She enthused to entranced rodent tourists during a recent tour as she discussed the delicacy of canine excrement. I don't know what's worse, that she leads people on a tour, or if you go ahead and go on this tour. By the way, it's $40. It's a 2-hour tour through Lower Manhattan. I'm going to pass on that one next time I'm up in New York City. If you go on that tour, let me know so I can report you to the authorities. Okay. It's time for Florida Man in Florida Woman. And this story involves the son of the GOAT. Yeah, Michael Jordan and his son, Marcus Jordan. After Marcus Jordan's warehouse was ransacked during Hurricane Milton, with 5 being arrested. 5 people face charges in the theft and handling of rare sneakers that were allegedly stolen during Hurricane Milton from an Orange County warehouse rented by Marcus Jordan, the son of Michael Jordan. The burglary occurred early October, several hours after Hurricane Milton made landfall in Florida. The Orange County Sheriff's Office said 3 males wearing masks and gloves could be seen on surveillance video rummaging through boxes and shelves in the warehouse, ultimately stealing what detectives described as 300 to 400 pairs of sneakers worth at least $20,000. The thieves loaded up the sneakers into a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van that Marcus Jordan also owned and stole that as well. After identifying the first 2 suspects, detectives recalled seeing one of them allegedly wearing a pair of the stolen sneakers during the surveillance. No, come on. That's rule number 1. What he said enabled him to obtain a search warrant for his apartment. So this dummy here was wearing the stolen sneakers, which led the officers able to get a search warrant for his apartment. And I guess they got in the apartment and found some of the sneakers. $20,000 worth of sneakers plus the Mercedes Benz. Okay, final one here on this Florida Man Friday. You guys like to walk? You guys more of, go for a run, jog, or you guys like to walk? I'm more of a run type person. I'll do walking on like the treadmill, but I won't do anything outside. Well, this Florida man just wrapped up a 6-month hike from the Florida Keys to Maine. Doug Foos, F-O-O-S. Does anyone in Florida have a just a regular name? I think it's impossible. Doug Foos started his journey in Key Largo on January 1st, and last Tuesday, this week, he reached his final stop in Fort Kent, Maine. He spent half a year on the trail carrying only his essentials. Man, his legs are tree trunks. Put him at linebacker, somebody. Can he play running back for Texas next season? I think he can. Doug Foos said, quote, I got my tent, got my air pad, got food, got my water filter, water, as little stuff as possible. That way it keeps my pack weight light, which lets me get more miles, he said. Foos calls it his longest hike ever, and now he's got bigger plans. A shower, a couch, and some serious TV time. That's what? The modern day Forrest Gump, right? Just felt like running. Doug Foos, 6 months. Well, hey, that's better than some of the Florida Man stories we get. That's a Friday Inconceivable for you. Again, if you're drafted, maybe say something other than the F-bomb when you're on live TV. We'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 on today's program.
For the 4th time in 5 years, the Texas Longhorns have won the Directors' Cup.
Texas wins the national championship. The Longhorns are on top of the college softball world.
From the courts to the field, Texas has dominated the nation.
He got it! Touchdown, Texas! Texas is going to the Final Four! The Texas women are headed for the Final Four!
1300 The Zone, the home of the Texas Longhorns. Hook 'em.
This is Mark Henry, the world's strongest man. Discover the true taste of Texas at Mom's Food, Smokehouse, and Delicatessen, where everything is handcrafted in-house, from the mustard to the bacon. Proudly featured in the inaugural Michelin Guide of Texas, they source the finest products from local producers. Visit us at 5811 Manor Road, Austin, Texas, or find them at your favorite farmer's market. Pre-order their barbecue today. Don't you keep the best delicatessen in Austin a secret. Tell them Mark Henry sent you.
In today's Marketers Report, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, weighs in on audio's ability to reach any audience.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. So it's a great way to take something very precise in what we're trying to do to reach patients with something that I think we can all agree is somewhat broad in reaching many, many different audiences.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia can get more people to hear your message than anyone else. For better results for every budget, visit iHeartAdvertising.com.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is coming back to Las Vegas, September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today. AXS.com.
Basketball is not over. Big Three is back this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on CBS. Fast-paced, physical 3-on-3. The most competitive physical basketball in the world. See the league everyone is talking about. Miami's 305, led by Lance Born Ready Stevenson, MVP Michael Beasley, and Mario Chalmers. Coached by Hall of Famer Michael Cooper, taking on Boston's Ball Hogs with Coach Gary Payton and Kevin Murphy fighting for second place. Also featuring the world's best 3-on-3 players, featuring Dwight Howard, Joe Johnson, Kevin Murphy, Montrezl Harrell, Jason Richardson, Jordan Crawford, Paul Millsap, Glenn Rice Jr., Greg Monroe, Wesley Johnson, Nasir Cole, and many more. Hall of Fame coaches Nancy Lieberman, Dr. J, George the Iceman Gervin, Steven Jackson, and Nick Young. Basketball the way it's meant to be played, followed by 2 games on Vice. Big Three is fierce and live on CBS and Vice this Sunday starting 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Yay, yay!
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check for your wallet first before hitting the drive-thru.
$6. Sorry, forgot my wallet. I have change, though. Here's 40 cents, another 40. Ooh, a bicentennial.
What's that?
Oh, gosh.
Checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. That's VAXAssist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
Specs has everything to stay cool, spirit savings, and more.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, and get ready to succeed again. Get an affordable online skills-based education to move your career forward. UMGC offers no-cost digital materials in place of textbooks in most courses, low-cost tuition, and over $21 million in scholarship opportunities each aid year. Find out if you qualify at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. We cover all 40 acres.
All right, 1 hour down of today's program. You're on a Fire Me Up Friday. Cameron Parker with you. Special thanks to Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast. If you missed that, go ahead and check us out on our podcast page on the free iHeart Radio app. Talked a little NBA draft and Trey Johnson's fit with the Washington Wizards and his actual draft night fit. Also, we had our Friday Inconceivable. Coming up next in the 4 o'clock hour, we have CJ Vogel from On Texas Football joining us live from the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana. Get his thoughts on Arch Manning and the Texas football recruiting trail. 3 recruits announcing their decision later on this afternoon. And up next, Cole Dixon live in studio, his music survey. A lot of Taylor Swift as the Craig Way Show continues.
Craig Way here, and no matter who you listen to on the air and no matter which team you root for, we can all agree in recommending Dr. Greg Eckert as your dentist. Dr. Eckert has been serving the Austin area for 30 years now. He's been my dentist for more than a decade. Greg Eckert and his staff will show you what your situation is, and they'll tell you what they can do to help so that you can make the informed decision about your dental health care needs. Give Dr. Eckert a call today at 512-345-3166. They're open on Fridays if that works for you. 512-345-3166 for Dr. Greg Eckert.
Wait, if I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Time for your Live Nation concert update. Don't miss Summer of Loud with I Prevail. Parkway Drive, Kill Switch Engage, and more at Germania Insurance Amphitheater June 27th. Billy Currington and Kip Moore at Moody Amphitheater at Waterloo Park August 2nd. You're right back here, baby. Falling in Reverse at Moody Center August 13th. And Max McNown at Emos August 27th. Get tickets at livenation.com.
Find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you.
With the lowest prices for over 30 years, find what you love only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the whoops. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Today doesn't have to suck. Break through your day-to-day boredom by downloading Call of Duty Mobile for free and enjoy fun gameplay featuring fan-favorite Call of Duty maps, modes, and operators, plus tons of new mobile content anywhere, anytime. Available on both the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Download for free now. Rated app.
Hey, if you're listening to me right now, I have one thing every business needs most: attention. Think about it. We swipe and scroll past stuff all day. But when we're driving, cooking, and working out, we're also listening. That's the magic of audio at iHeart. We're in your next customer's ears while they're living life and listening, just like you are right now. So get your customers to listen up today using radio, digital, and podcasts. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like one-hit wonders. The greatest one-hit wonders of all time. Ones you definitely remember.
Now whip it.
And ones that'll make you say, oh yeah.
This is the story of a girl.
Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search One Hit Wonders, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
iHeartRadio.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KVET AM Austin. Your home for the Horn. Make us the #1 preset in your car and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Here we go with hour number 2 of today's program. Glad to have you with us. Cameron Parker filling in for Craig Way on this Friday afternoon. And Craig on his yearly sabbatical out in North Carolina, the first in flight state. So much needed time off for Mr. Way, who will be joining us for the SEC Media Days, which is only a few weeks away. And if you aren't familiar with their coverage, we are really excited about that. July 14th to the 17th is the SEC Media Days out at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. And 1300 The Zone will be there live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Of course, Tuesday the 15th is when Texas and head coach Steve Sarkisian will take the stand, so to speak. Well, they'll feature a couple athletes. We probably guessing we're going to have Michael Taft and Arch Manning and maybe some others, DeAndre Moore, perhaps. We'll see who Texas brings with Steve Sarkisian, but they will be there, and we will bring you live coverage all 3 days. Mike Cars from the morning kickoff will be there on site, and then me and Craig Way will be there on site as well. So excited to bring you live coverage there, the visit with Steve Sarkisian and players, and also special guests and media members. It's always a real fun week, and looking forward to that coverage, because when that ends, we're a couple weeks away from fall practice starting. Usually it's that first week of August, maybe the second week of August when Texas football begins their fall practice. So, hey, guys, college football is right around the corner. Next hour, we're going to hear some conversation from Steve Sarkisian in the Third and Longhorn podcast. You can listen to it on the Third and Longhorn podcast and on the Longhorn Network website. Fantastic sit down with Nick Shuley in the Third and Longhorn game. Alex Okafor, Rod Babers, Fozzie Whitaker, Derek Johnson, Jeremy Hills. Fantastic interview. We will play some of that, some good stuff from Steve Sarkisian as Texas football really busy right now on the recruiting trail. 3 players expected to announce their commitment today. You have Malachi Lee, the offensive tackle, Chase Calicut, the DB, and then Damari Simeon, the defensive tackle. We expect all 3 not to pick Texas currently as things stand. But CJ Vogel from On Texas Football will join us next hour, and we'll get his thoughts on those 3 decisions and what Texas could be doing instead. Should be a very busy weekend. And next week, James Johnson, by the way, believe he's the #1 defensive lineman in the country from Cape Coral, Florida. He is announcing his decision tomorrow. Kind of expecting the Georgia Bulldogs, but do not fret, Texas fans. They have a fantastic defensive line class. Kenny Baker's been tearing it up in the month of June, and we'll hear more from CJ, who will be joining us live from the Manning Passing Academy in Louisiana. So a lot to get to as well. Again, if you missed our first hour, Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast joined us to talk a little NBA basketball, and Trey Johnson's fit in Washington. That'll be on our podcast page on the free iHeart Radio app. Also will be posted on our YouTube channel as well. And just to mention, guys, if you have not already added us to your favorite presets, please do that. It's free on the iHeart app. You log in, you can make 1300 The Zone a preset, as well as the morning kickoff in the Craig Way Show. So that makes it so easy. Just open up the app and you can click on it and instantly listen live to our broadcast. And also, it's very handy come football and basketball season, because you're getting in and out of the game. Maybe you're going to the game, you're getting back in your car, you're leaving early, you want to listen to the game, what's happening here. If you have that preset handy, you can join and listen to the game instantly. So I encourage you guys to go ahead and do that on the free iHeart Radio app. Okay. It's time for our music survey. And joining us live in studio, you have heard his name, whether it's producing Texas basketball or baseball or producing the Craig Way Show. He is Cole Dixon. Cole, good afternoon. I'm glad to have you in studio. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? I'm just glad my key card still worked and that I'm allowed back in here.
You were just here like a day ago, weren't you?
Yeah, well, you never know with these days.
Okay, so before we get into our music survey, and so far, I think I've done it with Craig. We had my cards do it, so I believe you are the third member of the Zone family to do this. Let's for listeners, let's get you a little background about you. Where are you from? How long have you worked here? All of that, and kind of what influenced you into music. What's your favorite genre, so to speak?
So originally from Northern California.
Boo.
I know. I've heard it. I've heard it all. So my background, coming to Texas, I started in radio when I was 19 in the Bay Area. And I did sports radio, same thing that I'm doing now. And when I came here, I had a mutual friend, and that's how I got started over at the old place. And then that kind of spiraled into, oh, do you want to also do country radio? I've always liked country music and kind of everything in between, like hip hop, pop, just as long as it's not Norwegian death metal, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
But I'm kind of all over the place. The best way I can put this music survey, it's like that Dennis Rodman gif. If he's like, oh, I'm going this way, I'm that way.
Yeah.
It's all over the place, which I enjoy because for me, a lot of my music taste depends on what I'm doing, who I'm with, what's the vibe like. I have a playlist pretty much for any scenario, whether I'm driving home or, New Music Friday. It really depends. So that's why I enjoy doing this, because you get a sense of, oh yeah, I haven't heard that song in a while, or you know what, maybe that person's a little overrated and I should really take a step back and try and find some other, artists to look at. But I'm excited for this. I've had this date circled now for a while, Cam, when you asked me to do it.
Like a week ago?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of countless sleepless nights coming up with this music survey.
Okay. So what we'll do is we're going to split up into 3 segments here. We'll begin with kind of the artist band that you dislike, you hate. And hate's a pretty strong word, but as Craig always will say, I think it does fit for music. And hopefully Craig is listening wherever he's at right now in the East, so he can text in and hopefully roast your music taste, Cole. The second part of this will be music that you like, you love, and usually this pertains to an artist that you could probably pick the same artist for every single answer, but the point of the survey is to pick a different artist for each answer, and then we'll cap it off with kind of the live music part of it. So Cole, we'll begin. Band or artist that you hate?
Hate is a strong word. This artist, it was an easy pick for me because there's a lot of copycats right now in the music scene. And this artist, Wyatt Flores, I know he's a nice kid. He's young, but it's just nasally, kind of just whiny. And I know he's popular with the younger crowd, but for me, it's like, it all sounds the same. And it's just like nails on a chalkboard. And when I put the survey together, you go, oh, just put the song in parentheses. I don't know if you saw it. You can pick any song of his, and for me, I don't care. They're just not good. It's not good at all, and I might be in the minority here. It's not me. This is not what I like to listen to, and it's just, again, whiny, and it kind of sounds underproduced, like he's like a wannabe Zach Bryan in a sense.
Okay,
nice kid. I've heard great things, but the music's not for me. It's just god awful.
You see a lot of copycats. You saying he's trying to be like Zach Bryan? That's who you think of when you hear him? Is Zach Bryan wannabe?
Yep. It's that little bit of underproduced kind of sound to it. Kid from Oklahoma. I get it, man. It's tough, and I think with this industry too, with what you and I do, is we have a lot of different stations around here. And we're able to meet artists and, meet these radio DJs that, hey, we can go to a concert and meet all these cool people. And it's another aspect of this because it's hard because I know some of these artists and I don't want to shoot them down. And it's a tough position, It's tough to be a musician. And the last thing I want to do is kind of tear someone down. But it's nothing personal, Wyatt. It's just not my thing.
Okay, so Wyatt Flores for band or artist you hate. Now, the band or artist you think is overrated.
So this person, it was funny because I went home maybe a month or so ago, and my mom was like, "Hey, do you want to go see Leon Bridges up in Sacramento?" And for me, when I hear this song, it's just like PTSD. I remember bartending in the Hill Country when I first moved here, and this is all they played was Texas Sun. And so when my mom's like, "Do you want to go see Leon Bridges?" First of all, the tickets were like $400. No. And it's not my thing, but people love them. Again, I'm in the minority here. Leon Bridges, Texas Sun. It's just ingrained in my brain of like, that's all I heard. And we couldn't change the song. The owner wanted to just play Texas Sun nonstop. So for me, he's overrated. I know he's played around here a couple times and people love him, but it's not my thing.
Okay, so you have a specific like bad memory. So when you hear this song, you think about clothes. And I'm guessing you probably didn't really enjoy that job based on.
No.
Okay. No. That makes more sense. Because when I first saw this, I love this song. I'm not the biggest Leon Bridges fan, but I can't believe you don't know the song. That makes more sense. You have a bad memory. Okay.
Yeah. And they say melody sounds like memory. So again, I just go right back to this nonstop playing on a loop.
Understandable. Okay. The third one here before we wrap up. Band or artist you think is underappreciated?
This one was tough. So this artist hasn't really come out with much lately, but I think we can all agree that T-Pain, no matter what song, he just doesn't miss. And no one talks about T-Pain as much as they should. And he's starting to come back a little bit and do festivals and concerts. And I think he might be here soonish.
Yeah, ACL. I think.
Yeah, he's going to be at ACL. And when I saw that lineup and I saw T-Pain, I was like, no one talks about T-Pain enough. And he puts on a great show and he sounds really good too. Plus his streams, I don't know if you've caught his streams before. They're really good. So, no one talks about T-Pain enough. Underappreciated, batting 1,000. He can't miss, whether it be on a feature or just his own song.
I agree with that because he's definitely someone that I think's had almost like a career revival without releasing any new music, because all of his early stuff, including this right here, Bartender with Akon, an absolute banger, absolute gem. Okay, we are a few songs into our music survey here with Cole Dixon on this Fire Me Up Friday. We'll continue with more here on the Craig Way Show.
We hit it on something proper like the bartender. Ooh, if you're looking for me, I'm at the bartender. Okay, I like the bartender.
Text Texas, followed by your message to 81530 to chat along with your favorite sports radio, AM 1300, The Zone hosts. That's Texas, followed by your message to 81530. Standard data and message rates may apply. AM 1300, The Zone.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
At Hanna Chevrolet, we like to keep things simple. So the price we agree on is the exact price you pay. That means no bait and switches, no absurd additions, no mandatory dealer packages that are magically added at the finance table. At Hanna, this can save you $3,000 to $5,000. Just straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, incredible customer service, and a vehicle you're going to love. So come in and together let's drive at Hanna Chevrolet or Hanna.com.
And Doug.
Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-616-1997. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at tra.com or call 800-616-1997. That's 800-616-1997. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
With great deals coming this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th, greatness is a deal away. So if you love baking, you can get a deal on a new mixer, transforming you into the Lord of the Loaves.
Hear ye! Make way for the badding of brioche, the sultan of sourdough, the lord of the loaves, Prime Member Dave!
Yeah, hi?
Shop great deals this Prime Day, July 8th through the 11th.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line, $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement, $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified, plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card, allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
1300 The Zone is your home for the Round Rock Express.
Fire Me Up Friday here on the Craig Way Show. Cameron Parker sitting in for Craig Way here on, not only is it Friday, it's Music Survey Friday. Coming back with Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle. I love Guns N' Roses. Craig Way, I believe, actually had Guns N' Roses as a band or artist he thought was overrated. Again, Craig will be redoing his music survey, I believe, when he returns from his sabbatical. So will Guns N' Roses make the list? Will any of Cole Dixon's songs on this list be on Craig's? I do not think so, especially not T-Pain. Although you never know. You never know. Maybe Linda will be rocking out some T-Pain Bartender while they're on vacation. Okay, so far we're 3 in. We've done banner artist Cole Hates, which was Wyatt Flores. Banner artist he thought was overrated, Leon Bridges, Texas Sun, which offended many people on our text line already.
Oh,
and
no.
banner artist he thinks underappreciated, which is T-Pain, which is something that I agree with. Okay, now we're going to get into the section that a lot of people could probably just pick one band or artist for every single answer. But again, the point of the survey is to use a different band or artist for each question. So we'll start with band or artist that Cole Dixon loves.
Now this band is what I say when you hear a sound for a band and you're like that, you don't even need to know the song exactly. But Turnpike Troubadours, they have a sound. I don't know what it is, but I can hear a song. Oh, that's Turnpike. I've seen them countless times. I think I've seen them more than anyone. But for me, they just don't miss also. And the storytelling that Evan Felker does and portrays in his music, it's incredible. And they can slow it down. They can fire it up like this. And for me, it's one of those, when I see them, there's nothing special about their performance, but when you see them live, you're like, that's Turnpike. They sound exactly like how they are, like when I play them on Spotify. And it may not be the best show, with all the theatrics, but they are always consistent. And for me, I think consistency wins, and their music is always consistent. I can listen to them all day long.
Okay. Turnpike Troubadours, which brings us to our next question. And you kind of just said that you can listen to Troubadours over and over again, but the band or artist you chose for this answer, of course, had to be different. So the band or artist that you could listen to over and over again is
Co Wetzel. For me, Co is he's got that kind of rock country vibe to him, which I love, and he was like that bad boy when he first started. We've all heard stories about Co being on stage and just be a complete maniac, but he has his own style, his own sound. If I'm ever in a bad mood, and I'll just turn on this song, February 28, 2016, which tells a good story in itself, by the way, too, if you want to go down that rabbit hole. But this is something I'll listen to over and over and over again, whether it be instrumental, the actual song itself. It's just, it's one of those, why not? I'll not skip it. I'll put it that way. Because I have song ADD, and I will skip 6 songs if need be. But this is the one where it's a non-negotiable for me. We're going to listen to it.
Okay, that fits in, I think, to what Craig is looking for in artists. That they come up on your shuffle, on your playlist, whatnot. You're like, all right, whatever. Well, I'll listen to it again, even though I may have listened to that song 4 songs ago. Okay, the band or artist that made Cole Dixon fall in love with music, and I got to tell you, I was surprised by this one.
There are some curveballs in here, and going back to what you said coming out of the break, I think there's one artist that will be on Craig's list. We'll get to that later, but this band, when I say melody sounds like memory, when I hear the Backstreet Boys and this song specifically, I think of going back. This was my first concert back in Oakland, California at Oracle. And I remember as a kid going there, I had my headphones in because it was loud, but I remember looking at the stage. I still remember it now. And they're popping and locking on the stage. And then I even bought a CD from them. Remember CDs, Cam?
Yeah.
And every day, I kid you not, to and from school, I would pester my mom. Hey, can we listen to this track? Backstreet Boys. Track 5, track 7, please. And I would just pester her, and she's, yes, sure. But she took me to this concert, and this is what really kind of fall in love with music. It's catchy, and the dance moves in itself, the music videos. Remember when music videos were a thing on the MTV? So this is the one that I can listen to this too. Again, this list is hard because you can only use an artist once, and I have to dig real deep in my memory and think about what really made me fall in love with music. And this one just came right to mind.
Can you pop and lock?
Not for free.
Not for free. Okay.
No, I can't. No.
I feel like Backstreet Boys is like a California thing.
Is it?
I don't know. There's got to be some sort of joke in there. All right. Backstreet Boys, band or artist that Cole Dixon fell in love with. Okay. Band or artist that changed your life.
So this is interesting. So I looked at this question and I think of, okay, I will say it's 50 Cent. And here's the reason why. When LimeWire first came out, throwing it back there and dating myself, but when LimeWire first came out, I went to Radio Shack and bought a thing of 50 Radio blank Shack, CDs. Yeah. I remember taking my bike and I had my mom go on LimeWire for me. I was like, can you get 50 Cent in the club? Just one song. So you can add other songs. Like, no. I want 50 Cent in the club. And then, no joke, I was watching MTV later that day and the music video came on and I was hooked.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And 50, he's not technically West Coast, but
Nah, he's from New York.
I can understand the infatuation with Fitty, who did have a lot of beef with people on the West Coast. Okay, so 50 Cent there. Band or artist that surprised you in usually the direction that Craig, I think, kind of wants this to go in, or the way it's kind of the correct way to answer it. An artist, I think it's not guilty pleasure. Guilty pleasure is a little bit different, but artists that you maybe you saw, or the first time you saw them and then thought, okay, there's no way I would like this genre or this artist, and you listen to them, and all of a sudden you find yourself listening to them more and more.
So this is a good story. It brings me back to, I think I was in probably 8th grade, and I'm in Southern California with my friend, and he was playing Revolution, and I've never had a whole lot of experience with reggae music. And the funny story is, I was like, whoa, it was this song, Attention Span. I was like, wow, this is actually catchy. I enjoy it. And it really surprised me because I was never a reggae fan. I was more at that time into like hip hop, like 50 Cent again, but never reggae. And the funny story is, their manager was our pitching coach at our high school.
Oh, really?
So I got to meet him a couple
At
times.
Dripping Springs? Oh, no,
Yeah, Northern California. Yeah, and so I got to see him. I've seen them live a couple times. They're great, and they're really nice. And the lead singer, Eric, actually grew up maybe 6 blocks from where I originally grew up in San Francisco.
Okay.
So it was a cool little correlation there that really that was really meaningful to me. And they're all from Northern California. They went to Santa Barbara, and it's got that cool vibe, that West Coast vibe, reggae, and it's catchy. I love it.
Never have really gotten into reggae myself. Like, I love Bob Marley.
Yeah.
And his son or grandson, YG Marley's got some really good stuff. But yeah, I don't totally understand the vibe of this. It's such an easygoing,
it is
chill, laid back.
And more often than not, they'd be either headlining or on the docket at Reggae Fest in Tahoe, and I would make the trip to South Lake Tahoe and go see them.
Oh, really?
If they're playing, I'll go see them. They've always been consistent too.
Okay, so that's Regulation by Attention Span. Okay, we are through part 2 of the list, and we will come back and finish this list, including with Cole Dixon's Guilty Pleasure Band, artist he should have seen by now, great artist to see live, and one he would like to see that is no longer with us. It's Cole Dixon's Music Survey here on this Fire Me Up Friday, halfway through.
Come on, why can't I remember your name now? But in a way, it's best that I don't say.
Earl Campbell here for my good friends at Austin Shoe Hospital. Austin Shoe Hospital has been repairing my favorite boots and shoes for over 30 years. They are the best Western boot repair company in Texas and can repair any boot brand or style. Visit the master cobblers at Austin Shoe Hospital, and they will bring all your shoes, boots, and bags back to life. If you didn't wear it, they can repair it. Oh, yes, and hook 'em horns.
Visit AustinShoeHospital.com.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Over $15 million worth of world-class mattress brands must be sold immediately. Up to 80% off at Austin and San Antonio's largest independent mattress retailer. Everything must go, right down to the bare walls. Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, and Stearns & Foster. No interest financing is still available. The factory mattress going out of business sale is happening now at all 14 locations. Don't miss it.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Shop 4th of July savings at the Home Depot right now and get up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery, like Samsung. From all-in-one washer dryers to smart refrigerators, upgrade to tech you can trust with Samsung appliances. The Home Depot has what you need to simplify your routine. Don't miss 4th of July appliance savings at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
Well, that's just great.
Oh, perfect.
Awesome. How nice for me.
but what you really need to say is, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there to help you file your claim.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
From iHeart Podcast. Before social media, before cable news, there was Alan Berg.
He was the first and the original shock jock.
That scratchy, irreverent kind of way of talking to people and telling them that you're an idiot and I'm going to hang up on you.
This is Live Wire, the loud life and shocking murder of Alan Berg.
And he pointed to the Denver phone book and said, well, there are probably 2 million suspects.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Live Wire, and listen now.
iHeartRadio presents Stuff You Should Know.
Caffeine can be really good for you and help a lot of things, and caffeine can be kind of bad for you.
It's a drug, and in its pure form, Chuck,
Yeah.
it is a bitter-tasting crystalline powder.
Naturally, it's in the coffee bean and in chocolate and tea, but it's also added artificially in things like soda. Your body is enjoying the caffeine. It's blocking that adenosine. You're going to feel alert and awake. It's got that adrenaline going, and it's rewarding you with the dopamine. I mentioned the vicious cycle, the inevitable crash,
right?
Like any stimulant drug, and you want more of it. Eventually, it's going to affect your sleep patterns. All right, how about some health benefits?
Right.
They found everything from not develop Parkinson's disease to dropping your risk of various cancers.
Well, coffee actually is shown to reduce your risk of diabetes.
4 cups a day, 50% less chance of mouth and throat cancer.
You should eat more grapefruit because grapefruit contains something called narragin or narragin, and it actually slows the removal of caffeine from your brain.
Okay.
So you enjoy its effects longer.
Nice.
Yeah.
For the entire caffeine episode and everything else in the Stuff You Should Know universe, open the free iHeart app, search Stuff, and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. Our blood runs orange.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Little mama, show me how you move it. Go ahead, put your back into it. Do your thing like it ain't nothing to it. Shake that, girl.
Army of Friday here. Cameron Parker with you on the Craig Way Show. Almost through Cole Dixon's music survey. Every Friday on this program, we will conduct a music survey with a different guest. I did it 2 weeks ago. Hards was on last week. Cole Dixon in today, who actually had 50 Cent on his music survey as an artist that changed his life. And we'll see who we'll have next Friday. Actually, we will not have a music survey Friday because it is July 4th and we will be off. So maybe next Thursday, maybe Andrew Simmel will do.
That would be a good one.
We'll see. We'll talk with Simmel, our sixth man here at the Zone. Okay. One question that kind of fit in actually the second grouping, but somehow I deleted it from our hotkey page, was a guilty pleasure band or artist. Now, I think Craig's reasoning, this is a band or artist that if you listen to, you want to do it when no one else is around. You don't want to be in the car with your mom or your girlfriend or your friends and have them know that you like this artist. So the guilty pleasure band or artist for Cole Dixon.
So this artist I will only listen to when I'm in the car by myself, or if it's on the radio, then I'm not going to turn it and I'll roll up my windows, maybe blast the AC so no one can hear it from the outside. But it's Alanis Morissette. And for her, it's like a timeless kind of classic, right? Everyone knows this song. I know I've someone did it at a karaoke bar. They sang it, and you kind of I looked around the room and I saw people kind of like not singing it, but mouthing it a little bit. And I'm like, I know you know the song. If I can sing it out loud along with the person doing the karaoke, you can too. But this is a timeless classic. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, you know the song, Cam, right?
I've heard it before. I'm not a closet Alanis Morissette fan.
And the funny thing is, she actually lives near my mom. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People are like, I've seen her at the grocery store. I know she has a house by her. And
Is she like, hey, my son is, you're his guilty pleasure artist? Does she say that to her in the store?
No, I hope not. Just don't please embarrass me in front of Alanis Morissette. But yeah, I mean, this is one of those, when no one's listening, I kind of look around. All right, yeah.
Okay.
It's ironic.
Ironic by Alanis Morissette, something like that. Is it Alanis or Alanis?
Alanis Morissette.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's pronounced differently. Okay. So we're through the first two parts. The third part, kind of our live music grouping of the music survey, which is artists you should have seen, artists that's good to see, and one that you would have liked to see but is no longer with us, or the original grouping of the band has split up. Okay. Band or artist that you should have seen by now. And this is one that I agree with Cole because he's been on tour for like 70 years.
Yeah, and I kicked myself in the rear end more often than not than when he was playing at Kyle Field last year. It's George Strait, and he sold it out. But here's the thing. I'm going to go two separate ways here. I'm going to weave them in. I firmly believe that I think Hulu does it with Lollapalooza, but more concerts should be streamed where I can watch it from the comfort of my own home. But also, I should have seen him. But also, if I go to Kyle Field, I'm going to be all the way up in the rafters looking down, and he's going to be a little spectacle. But it's also George Strait. And then I got to travel all the way to Kyle Field. But I should have seen him. I wish I knew about him a little earlier. I was kind of late to the George Strait game, to be honest. But I should have seen him by now, and I kicked myself in the rear end because a lot of my friends went to his concert last year. I got to see maybe if he's retired a couple times, and then he comes back. Comes back. So I'm just going to cross my fingers that he comes back, and wherever he does play.
You know where he's playing next?
Oklahoma?
No.
Where?
Your home state. California.
Where?
July 19th. Inglewood, SoFi.
Ugh.
Tickets $173. He's playing, looks like he's playing with somebody else here. Little Big Town?
Yeah.
Little Big Town, who is it here? We'll find out here in a Little Big Town, yeah.
Yeah, pass. But, I mean, you got to travel
but
to
he's
Inglewood.
on your list, though. He's one you should have
list.
seen. He's in California.
I think we're spoiled with this industry, at least I am, with the amount of people we know and connections where if we can get a free ticket, we'll get a free ticket.
But I don't know. George Strait's different. Like,
I'll pay money to go see him, but it has to be close. And it takes a lot for me to get out of my little zone there in South Austin.
Okay.
But again, if he was in Oklahoma, I'd probably go see him. If he was in Kyle Field again, I'd go see him. But that's a little too far for me. We'll see. I can only hope. Cross my fingers.
Okay. So George Strait, artist that Cole Dixon should have seen by now. Okay. A great band or artist to see live.
Was this a curveball when you saw
Yes.
it? Okay. So here's the story. I went to Phoenix a couple years ago, and I wanted to see Kane Brown, but Imagine Dragons opened for Kane Brown. And when I was talking earlier about Turnpike, where they're always consistent, but they're just kind of on stage playing, Imagine Dragons, that's a full show. You got confetti, you got fire, you got the cannons, and the sound system's great. And they're, where the Phoenix Suns play. But then everything they do, it's a full-on show. It's not just a concert. It's a show, and that's probably the best show I've seen in my 30 years of existence.
Wow.
Yeah. The lead singer was kind of a little off. He started taking off his clothes and doing all these weird movements, and it got a little weird for a sec, but
okay.
Still, the show was fantastic.
Imagine Dragons.
Yeah. No one ever thinks of them either.
No, I never would have guessed that. Okay. Our last question here, the music survey for Cole Dixon, band or artist that you would have liked to have seen live, but is no longer with us.
So this could have gone two different ways, and there's really no wrong answer, but the reason I picked Michael Jackson was because Michael Harge picked Prince last week when I did it with him and Craig. I had a chance to go see Prince, and I just said no. Next time, not really my thing. But Michael Jackson, generational talent. I don't think he has a bad song, really. In his early days with the Jackson 5, and everyone kind of knows at least a couple Michael Jackson songs. And I really wish I got to see him again. Really talented, and he puts on a good show. My favorite clip of Michael is I forget where he was playing, but he pops up from stage and he just stares into the crowd for a couple minutes. I think like 2 minutes in, he takes off his glasses. The crowd goes wild again. And again, it's that stage presence that he has, kind of like Imagine Dragons as well. But Michael's voice and the dance moves too in itself is a spectacle. And I wish I would have seen it.
Yeah, I think no one can question his ability to perform in his music catalog for sure. That's a good one, Michael Jackson. That's Cole Dixon's music survey. Send us your thoughts. Text the word text is 81530, followed by your message or comment on our YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook live stream.
Am I getting grilled on the text line yet?
So far, it's been okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
I didn't lose them?
No, I haven't lost anybody yet.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm waiting for Mr. Craig Way to chime in here. But Cole,
that's going to be the real test.
Thanks for stopping in, and I
Thanks
think
for
we'll
having
see
me.
you around next week.
Cool. Thanks, man.
2 hours in of today's program. We still got one more left. We'll be back to wrap up hour 2 on this Fire Me Up Friday.
Light the tower burnt orange.
Grounded to short, backhanded by Good, fires to first. Texas wins the national championship.
Texas softball has won their first national championship in program history.
The Longhorns are on top of the college softball world.
1300 The Zone, the home of national champion Texas softball.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
In this week's Marketers Report, Corey Marchesotto, CMO of Elf Beauty, partner of iHeart Women's Sports, talks about partnerships.
I see brands as antennas. So we send out the ELF signal, and what comes back is people who want to be a part of this story. Why are we partnering with iHeart? Because we want to advance women in sports.
As the #1 audio company, iHeart Media can get more people to hear your message than anyone else. For better results for every budget, visit iHeartAdvertising.com.
If you've been thinking about getting a new car, maybe trading in the one that maybe you're driving it right now, and you're like, oh, you know what? I want to get rid of this one and into something else. Well, you can trade in the car you're driving right now at Apple Leasing and get into a brand new under warranty car for a pretty low monthly payment, lower than if you were to finance that exact same car with one phone call. 346-9977. Again, that's 346-9977, or you go to their website, appleleasing.com. One of the things I love about leasing cars from Apple Leasing, and I've been doing it for over 20 years, is at the end of the lease, you just turn the vehicle in. You don't have to worry about selling it or trading it in. It just makes it easy. Easy is the key for me, and I bet it is for you because you got a busy life. You want to get a new car, do it with one phone call. Call Apple Leasing today, 346-9977. Or you can check them out online. Just go to appleleasing.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. Mattress Firm's July 4th sale is on now. Get a king bed for a queen price and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select Sealy mattresses. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Rapid radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
Hey, Texas sports fans. Thomas J. Henry Law is thrilled to be part of UT Athletics action on and off season. Our athletes give it their all on the field, whether it's during practice or in the heat of the game. Thomas J. Henry and over 250 attorneys give it their all when it comes to helping you and your family get the justice you deserve. Whether it's on the court or in the courtroom, dedication, strategy, and teamwork is crucial. For over 30 years, Thomas J. Henry Law has been committed to securing meaningful results for the injured people and their families. After all, their law firm would be nothing without the communities and the individuals they serve. Visit tjhlaw.com to find out more. If you or your loved one have been injured, their attorneys are available 24/7 to help you. They have a reputation and resources to handle any case. Free consultations with no fees collected unless they win for you. Let's stay committed to supporting Texas Athletic Game Days, sponsored by Thomas J. Henry Law, on and off the field. It's all about the win.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. We cover all 40 acres.
Hey, y'all, Cameron Parker here, and by now you've heard me talk about the Lee Kitchen and Tavern. That's to wrap up hour 2 of today's program. Thanks so much to Cole Dixon for stopping by, conducting his music survey. That was a lot of fun. A lot of different answers from Mr. Cole Dixon. Again, every Friday this summer, we will conduct a different music survey. I did it a few weeks ago. Mike Hardball Hard did it last week. Cole this week. We'll see about next week because July 4th is Friday. We will not have local program. Maybe Thursday. But we'll see what we'll do there. Craig Way will end up doing his again when he returns from his sabbatical. Okay, before we wrap up the hour here, I want to give you guys a chance to win a pair of tickets to a concert. We love giving out free tickets. That's a big part of what we do here at iHeart. This week, we've been giving out tickets all week long to see Lainey Wilson, September 18th, 2025 at Moody Center. All you have to do is download the iHeart Radio app, search AM 1300 The Zone. And while you do that, make sure you make it a preset along with the Craig Way Show in the morning kickoff. Tap that red microphone button. Leave us a message. Today's keyword. Music. Pretty simple. Music. MUSIC. That's today's keyword for a chance to win tickets to see Lainey Wilson September 18th, 2025. Okay. Some other breaking news, and not so much breaking news here, but a little bit of a recap. Dylan Fuentes named the freshman of the year by Baseball America. Just one of 4 freshman pitchers to be named to receive that accolade, joining a pretty good list of guys. Greg Swindell, Kirk Dressendorfer, right? I mean, you can't do too much better than those guys. Oh, and by the way, also Brooks. So 3 guys who are in the Longhorn Hall of Honor. Baseball America National Freshman of the Year. What an award for Dylan Fuentes, the lefty who had such a fantastic season for Texas baseball. And Schloss and company have been busy in the portal. We began the show by breaking down the commitment of Hayden LeVue, the lefty pitcher from Wake Forest. The third pitcher to announce his commitment to Texas out of the transfer portal. The third lefty, as Slosh and Max Queen are going to try and, rebuild this rotation. Of course, Jared Spencer, the senior, likely going to be drafted. Honestly, I'm really not sure about his availability. If he can come back or not. He's listed as a senior, so if someone out there might have a better idea than I do. I know he's not a graduate student like Kimball Schuessler. I know Kimball's out of eligibility. I wish he could come back for a 7th year. Unfortunately, that's not the case for Kimball. But Dylan Fulantes will be back next season for Texas. Likely, you would think he's going to slide into one of those starting rotation spots on the weekend for Jim Schlossnagle and company. But congratulations to Dylan Fulantes, fourth Longhorn named Baseball America National Freshman of the Year. We are 2 hours into today's program. I have promised a lot of Texas football talk. We will get to Texas football talk in the 4 p.m. hour. Waiting to see back about CJ Vogel from On Texas Football. He is live in Louisiana at the Manning Passing Academy. So hopefully CJ will be able to join us for a little bit, get his thoughts on what he's seen so far. Arch Manning is there. Arch Manning's there, and also get his update on the latest news from the recruiting trail. Some big announcements have taken place. Some big announcements will take place today, and some are upcoming involving the Texas Longhorns. All that and more on Fire Me Up Friday. 2 down, 1 hour to go. Because it's my favorite place to eat chef-inspired comfort food and also sit at the bar and catch the game. I just stopped by the Avery Ranch location and tried their Hawaiian wings, fantastic, and also their pulled pork sliders, some of their fresh chef specials for June, and they always have fantastic service. Ask for Peter. He took care of me. He'll take care of you. Happy hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. It's the League Kitchen and Tavern.
Basketball is not over. The Big Three is back this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Physical and fiercely competitive. Miami's 305, led by Lance Stevenson and MVP Michael Beasley, take on Boston's Ball Hogs for second place. Other games feature Dwight Howard, Joe Johnson, Paul Millsap, Montrezl Harrell, Jason Richardson, Jordan Crawford, and more. Basketball the way it's meant to be played, followed by 2 games on Vice. Big Three live on CBS and Vice this Sunday starting 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific.
Hold up a sec. If I work today, why should I have to wait 2 weeks to get my money? With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors available in select states. Expedited transfer is available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
How can you free your team from time-consuming office tasks? Amazon Business. Smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast so they can focus on strategy and growth. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait one sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month and experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying ported. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
You've got an app for your music, but what about your favorite morning show, sports team, or live local news and weather?
Things start to change.
Yep, there's an app for all that too. iHeartRadio. Download the #1 app for radio, the free iHeartRadio app.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KVET AM Austin. Your home for the Horns. Make us the #1 preset in your car and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Free never sounded so good. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Final hour of today's program here on Fire Me Up Friday. Glad to have you with us here in Austin, Texas. I'm Cameron Parker filling in for Craig Way, who is on his yearly sabbatical out to the East Coast. So Craig getting some much deserved time off here. Very, very busy year for Craig. As always, basically starts all the way up from SEC Media Days and doesn't end until the last week of the baseball season. So Craig and Linda and his family able to reconvene out in North Carolina, and Craig will be back for the SEC Media Days in Atlanta, Georgia, coming up in just a few weeks, July 14th through the 17th, and we'll be live out there. My cards from the morning kickoff will be there, as will me and Craig Way for the Craig Way Show. So we're going to bring you some exclusive content, of course, as the flagship station of the Texas Longhorns. We will have exclusive interviews with Steve Sarkisian and Texas players. You know, of course, we'll see who Sark brings to Atlanta with them, but got a feeling it might be number 16, Arch Manning, who will stop by. Got a feeling that'll be Michael Taff. Michael Taff, who probably one of the most veteran players on that roster. Guessing he'll be there, and we'll see. Maybe DeAndre Moore Jr. He is a very mature kid. Always really enjoy talking to DeAndre Moore, who battling a lot of injuries in the spring. I don't think he was a full participant in spring practice at all, and neither was Ryan Wingos. So hoping to see one of those two guys out there as well. And, maybe Anthony Hill. He's not an elder statesman, but he is of this roster. With so much turnover the past year, it'll be a really young Texas football team, but it's going to be a very exciting Texas football team. Looking forward to 2025 and 26. And shoot, guys, we're almost 2 months away from kickoff between Texas and Ohio State. Big noon kickoff. I'm excited. This season, kind of a whirlwind, because it lasts so long now, right? Used to be college football was, unless you were playing the national championship, you'd be done by the first week in January. And just like that, now with the college football playoff, that thing lasts all the way until late January. And with spring ball in summer, it's a never-ending season. So looking forward to that. Texas, Ohio State come just almost 2 months away. I know someone else is very excited. Promised you we would get CJ Vogel from On Texas Football to join us, and he has live from the Manning Passing Academy. CJ, what's up, man? How you doing? And thanks for stopping by.
Cam, how's it going? It's hot, toasty, sweaty, muggy, any adjective you could think of to describe just a nasty weather out here in New Orleans or in Thibodaux, Louisiana, but it's part of the fun.
That sounds like Louisiana. Hot, humid, muggy. That's all words I would use to describe that state. Okay, day 2 of the Manning Passing Academy, and so far, what has stood out to you?
Yeah, so the college counselors, the campers, the big quarterbacks, they'll be throwing competition style tonight a little bit. Really excited to see that. Of course, Arch Manning, one of the big headliners out here this weekend, names on the camp. But there's been some arms that have surprised me. I thought Austin Simmons from Ole Miss, seeing him work with Eli and Peyton on Friday was really encouraged, on Thursday. He's a name that maybe I didn't have much expectation about or knew much about for him coming into this camp, but he's expected to put up some big-time numbers in that Ole Miss offense. Getting to see Cade Klubnik again in person, Lenore Sellers in person. Those guys, they're touted highly for a reason. They got mock drafts claiming them to be a top quarterback in the country for a reason. They look good on air, and that, I know it sounds like an easy thing to do, but you'd be surprised how many balls hit the ground in these throwing sessions. So all in all, the guys that you expect to be big-name quarterbacks, they're here this weekend. It's been fun to watch them throw.
And Arch will throw, you say, tomorrow or Sunday? How does the format work for the Manning Passing Academy?
Yeah, so Friday the campers got in, the college counselors got in, and there's kind of an optional workout opportunity with Peyton and Eli kind of leading some of the quarterback drills, kind of showcasing that to the campers and what they will go through over the next 2 days as well. Friday night tonight, there will be a big under the lights throwing session with all the college campers in attendance to watch the quarterbacks kind of put on a show, throw comebacks, curls, stops, posts, goes, anything under the sun. It's a pretty exciting event for those campers. But for me in the media, you get to see how the arms stack up with one another in the world of college football. And so that'll be tonight. Hopefully Arch Manning will be participating because he did not throw yesterday, hopefully saving that arm for the season and tonight as well.
Big recruiting day on the Texas football front. You have three guys: Malachi Lee, the defensive tackle, Chase Calicut, the DB, and Damari Simeon, defensive tackle. All three were scheduled to announce their decisions. I believe Chase, no surprise, just committed to Georgia. I think we're expecting Malachi Lee to also commit to Michigan. How do you think losing these three recruits? I don't know if I've seen Simeon commit yet or Lee, but it's trending not Texas's way. I don't know if either of those three were really surprising going into the day, but how do you expect this to impact the 2026 class? And do you see anybody else that Texas might pivot to going forward?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? Because you had three today. You have about 16 over the next, 2.5 weeks, right? So there's all sorts of commitments coming up, a big run in recruiting for Texas. 3 today. You're 0 for 1 right now. Malachi Lee set to decide. Damari Simeon still set to decide. It's likely now that you're going to go 0 for 3 today. It's unfortunate. Texas hosted all three for official visits. Texas has been in on these recruitments for quite a while. But look at where you're recruiting these guys from, right? You're recruiting against Georgia, recruiting against Georgia, Alabama, and Michigan for Malachi Lee, recruiting against Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State for Damari Simeon. All of these schools very much in that conversation for the best programs in the country. So I think Texas is in on the right guys. I think that there are still a number of guys leaning in their direction. But yeah, Damari Simeon choosing to stay closer to home up north. He's from New Jersey. And Malachi Lee coming down to Texas and Michigan. We'll see where that ends up. But right now, 0 for 3 feels likely for the Longhorns.
And yesterday, Xavier Kroll, the top remaining running back in the class, committed to Alabama. Not really a surprise, but the deeper picture here, CJ, is Texas still without a running back commitment for the 2026 class. I mean, 6 of the top 13 running backs are committed to 3 programs: A&M, Notre Dame, and USC. Hello on NIL money. Are you concerned with how the running back room is looking in this 2026 class? Obviously, James Simon, we've heard a lot of good things about him, the freshman from the 25 class. But again, I can't think about all the injuries Texas sustained this last season. 1 running back coming in this last class, 0 so far committed. And obviously, there's a transfer portal that can, fill these holes. I'm sure Sark and Chad Scott would not like to have to use a transfer portal. But overall, what is your concern level with the way the running back class is shaping up in 2026? With still, obviously a lot of time to go until signing day.
Yeah, concern level for running back at Texas, very low. Concern level for this 2026 class, it might be a little bit higher. Now, we've seen Texas miss on top prospects previously, right? Ruben Owens, Micah Hudson, 2 in-state guys who were heavily considering Texas at the time, but end up with pretty darn good players, right? Ryan Wingo came of the miss of Micah Hudson. CJ Baxter came of the miss of Ruben Owens. So I trust that Texas will find the guys that are going to be running around in DKR over the next 4 years. Running back should never be an issue at the University of Texas when it comes to finding, recruiting, and developing the top guys in the country. They've hit a bit of a wall, but again, this same wall that we experience or are experiencing right now with Texas recruiting at running back in 2026, we saw 2025 at defensive line. Right, you got to get these coaches acclimated to the job, build those relationships, and then just essentially time to win these big recruitments. It's been a bit of a tough start for Chad Scott, but ultimately the running back spot at Texas should recruit itself.
Yeah, and the timing is really unfortunate because Kroll, who had a really good relationship with Rashard Choice, if Choice stays as a running back coach instead of going to Detroit, I think he ends up at Texas. Obviously, a brand new coach comes in. It's tough to develop a relationship like that on the fly. And that's a great point bringing about Kenny Baker. When Bo Davis left for LSU, it's the same thing. He had all these relationships with these recruits. All of a sudden, a new coach comes in, who's in the Dolphins, Western Kentucky, not a lot of relationships there. Now you get a year in, like Kenny Baker did. You have a guy like Alfred Collins go in the second round. You see what all these guys did, a fantastic defensive line, the way they used the transfer portal. And all of a sudden now Kenny Baker, I think you could name the month of June the Kenny Baker month because he had 4 commits in the month of June, including Richard Wesley. How impressive was the month of June for Kenny Baker and PK and what Texas was able to do in the recruiting trail? So it's still a couple more guys that may be ending up committing to Texas over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you love what that defensive line's looking like. And again, look at where all these kids are coming in from. Dylan Berryman, Louisiana, Corey Wells, Mississippi, Vodney Cleveland, Alabama. Those are all SEC territory guys on the defensive line, which, as we've seen over the last 20 years in college football, that's where you want your inside guys hailing from. They move differently. They develop differently. They look different whenever they are through with their college football. So I think Texas has done a great job, and they're still leading for Kendall Gerville out of Fort Myers, Florida. James Johnson on Miami Northwestern has a decision between Georgia, Texas, Florida, Miami as well. Texas could take up to 5 on the defensive line this cycle. But you mentioned Richard Wesley. I don't know if there's a recruit that resembles Colin Simmons as closely as Richard Wesley. And this is a guy, again, who skipped or is going to skip his junior year to become a senior this fall and then enroll early. So essentially skipping a year and a half of high school development, but he looks the part, 6'4", 6'4.5", 240 pounds, lightning quick off the edge and violent. My goodness, is he violent at this age, this early. He can come in, sit a year behind Colin Simmons and then take over that edge spot there for the Longhorns, and Texas not see much of drop off at all.
We talked about the handful of recruits that'll be announcing their commitments next couple weeks. How different do you think this class is going to look like, say, come August 1st? And what players are you expecting to possibly end up announcing their decision to commit to Texas here in a very, very busy month of July?
Yeah, I don't want to say the class will be done by the end of July, but you're certainly going to have about 75, 80% of it complete. And again, Texas has done a great job of going back to recruitments that they previously had lost out on and working flips, right? That flipmas term that we've heard, Sark after dark, that's really when they do a lot of the work to put the bow on the class. But, by the end of July, I think you'll be up to about 22 commits probably, right? You're at 15 right now. You'll probably, 15 now plus, and 3 of which are specialists. So essentially 12 commits currently position-wise. I think you get up to about 22. And the 2 that I'm really eyeing on the offensive line, John Turntine out of North Crowley, Felix Ojo out of Mansfield Lake Ridge. Both, I would be very surprised if they did not end up at Texas, given what we know about their recruitments and the way that the month of June has trended for them. If either of them end up anywhere but Texas, I'd be a bit surprised.
247 has Texas as number 10 in the class right now. I think On3 Rivals at 13. Do you think Texas, let me ask you this. Where do you think Texas, when it's all said and done, will end up in the recruiting rankings after this class is filled up? I know it's only, June 27th, but where do you see Texas ending up?
It'll be a top 3 class. It's just too top heavy when you consider some of the guys that Texas is leading for. Kendall Gerville, I mentioned him out of Fort Myers. Texas has him, or he has Texas as his number 1 school. I mentioned the 2 offensive linemen. Texas still needs to add a wide receiver, whether that's a Jalen Lott, whether that's a Caden Finley. We'll see, but you have a 5-star in Dia Bell. You've got a 5-star in Richard Wesley. You got a borderline 5-star in Jermaine Bishop already in the class. And I mentioned it, but you only have 12. There are other schools with 15, 18, USC has 30 commits already. By the time that Texas fills out its class, it will be in the top 3 nationally.
You put out a tweet a couple days ago, CJ Vogel _OTF, ranking your positional rooms for the 2025 Texas Longhorns football team. Take us through this list here, because I think based off the Twitter replies, you got a couple people maybe surprised, but of course, I thought your rankings were pretty spot on. Take us through. I don't want to spoil them for you right now. I'll let you go through it, but take us through your rankings.
Yeah, well, we can get into where the controversy might have occurred. And look, I have running back at 10. And I don't think that's a bad room for Texas. I think it's as deep as we've seen a Texas running back room in a while, but it's just a lot of unknowns. How will a C.J. Baxter return from injury? How will a Christian Clark look after a torn Achilles? How will a Jarrett Gibson improve from a year in which the staff, quite frankly, couldn't trust him with the ball in his hands towards the back end of the year? You got a lot of bodies. You don't have a lot of answers. And I think that's where that room kind of stands out to me amongst the rest. At every other position, you have a starting 5-star who was on the field last year, or you have a starting returning, all-conference or all-American that was on the field last year. You don't have that at the running back room. C.J. Baxter, yes, a previous 5-star, wasn't on the field at all last year, returning from an injury that was beyond just the ACL, but the PCL and the LCL. So that changes things, right? I want to see how he returns fully. I want to see what he looks like again. And to be quite frank and honest about Trey Wisner, look, he's a 1,000-yard running back in the SEC a year ago. That's good. Returning those are very rare in the game of college football. But do I think that there's a room right now that's lesser talent-wise or expectation-wise, given what we know about them in that room right now? I would say no. The one that I think is perhaps a little close is tight end, but Jack Andrews went for about 550 last year at Cal as one of the top returning guys in the country at tight end. We like what we hear about Jordan Washington coming into his own going into year 2. And Nick Townsend, a borderline 5-star guy out of Duquesne last year. That room is as healthy and as deep as we've ever seen it, even with those years with Jatavian Sanders and Gunnar Helm on the roster together. I think this could be in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, we look back and say, oh, the 2025 Texas tight end room could be the best that we've seen maybe ever.
Yeah, we've heard Sark talk about Jordan Washington and Spencer Shannon for a couple years now. Now, can we see them put it on the football field, right? In the running back room too. I understand the 10 ranking just because of all the injuries to what CJ and Christian Clark this past season, and only 2 running backs coming in, James Simon and the 3-star Ricky Stewart. It's a room with a lot of questions. So yeah. I understand and I agree with your rankings there. Okay, last thing, because I know you want to get back to work. Are you all in on the Mavericks now with Cooper Flagg? Are you back in? Where are you at with Nico Harrison and the Mavericks?
First off, I don't want to go back to work, so keep stretching these questions out. I'm optimistic about the Mavs. It's hard not to be, right? Cooper Flagg, a generational prospect. I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but the first, American born? Yeah, it could be. I don't know. But from Maine, like if he's born in Maine, drafted by first overall, I'm excited for him. On paper, the Mavs have a very competitive roster. It's built for defense in the playoffs. It's built to be physical. But on top of that, you have guys that can go out and get their own bucket. The question is, will Kyrie return from injury to that level that we've seen from him during his stint in Dallas? That's obviously the big question. Who else does Dallas go out and target at that point guard spot? Is it a Dennis Schroeder, who I would love? Is it a Chris Paul, who I would absolutely loathe? It's going to be really interesting. But I do think that the Mavs are – and again, it's still ripe in my brain, that Luka trade. I don't want to completely forgive Nico for that because that was just as egregious as any move I've ever seen in my sports watching career. But it's undeniable that fully healthy, that roster should be very competitive.
Without a doubt. I mean, how different would the outlook be if the Mavericks, say, had the 8th pick and are rocking around with Jonas instead of Cooper Flagg? We'll see. CJ, thanks so much for the time, man. I appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend, and hopefully you can try and stay cool. I know it's almost impossible down there, but I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, and happy Friday.
Yeah, thank you. On Texas football, CJ Vogel. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ_Vogel_OTF. Doing excellent work. Check him out on TexasFootball.com. Him, Bobby Burton, Jerry Hamilton. Subscribe. They are down there at the Manning Passing Academy. And hey, the month of July is going to be very busy for Texas football recruiting. So encourage you to check them out. Even this weekend, we mentioned one recruit already has committed, announced a decision rather, to Georgia. 2 more expected to commit elsewhere, and then you got James Johnson, the number 1 rated defensive lineman, announcing his decision tomorrow. So a lot of decisions coming here in June and July. So check out ontexasfootball.com for all of their excellent coverage, especially at the Manning Passing Academy this weekend. Okay. Went a little bit long there on purpose. We're going to continue our Texas football talk and hear from Steve Sarkisian and his appearance on the Third and Longhorn podcast. Up next, Fire Me Up Friday here on the Craig Way Show.
Do you ever feel like when you're talking, nobody is listening? Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone will listen to you. What is on your mind? Go! All you have to do is use the iHeartRadio app Talkback feature when listening to AM 1300 The Zone.
Yo, hello, it's me. Enjoy the show.
We will get your message instantly, and we promise to listen to it.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
AM 1300 The Zone.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th, streaming live only on Hulu. Starring John Fogerty, Bryan Adams, Sammy Hagar, Mariah Carey, Tim McGraw, Jelly Roll, Ed Sheeran, and more. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage, superstar performances, and once-in-a-lifetime artist moments you'll have to see to believe. Get your iHeartRadio Music Festival tickets now at AXS.com.
And Doug. Here we have the Limu Emu in its natural habitat, helping people customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Fascinating. It's accompanied by his natural ally, Doug.
Limu, is that guy with the binoculars watching us?
Cut the camera. They see us.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
This is Mark Henry, the world's strongest man. Discover the true taste of Texas at Mom's Food Smokehouse and Delicatessen, where everything is handcrafted in-house, from the mustard to the bacon. Proudly featured in the inaugural Michelin Guide of Texas, they source the finest products from local producers. Visit us at 5811 Manor Road, Austin, Texas, or find them at your favorite farmer's market. Pre-order their barbecue today. Don't you keep the best delicatessen in Austin a secret. Tell them Mark Henry sent you.
At Henna Chevrolet, the price we agree on is the exact price you'll pay.
I was at a Chevy dealer recently, found the car I wanted, agreed on a price, and made it all the way to the financing table. Before they mentioned the $2,500 mandatory dealer package they added. Mandatory, as in they refused to remove it. So I left and went to Henna.
For straightforward, all-inclusive pricing, come in and together let's drive at Henna Chevrolet or Henna.com.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and relevant life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, and get ready to succeed again. Get an affordable online skills-based education to move your career forward. UMGC offers no-cost digital materials in place of textbooks in most courses, low-cost tuition, and over $21 million in scholarship opportunities each aid year. Find out if you qualify at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
The JB and Sandy Show podcast. Stream it on the iHeartRadio app.
Drivers, look out for a major accident on southbound 35 at FM 1431. That's causing a 45-minute traffic backup from Highway 29. Also, a disabled vehicle has the right lane closed on southbound 35 at Yeager Lane. I'm Carson Parnell with a look at Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's knows July 4 savings are worth celebrating. Right now, get 3 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Hurry, these July 4th deals won't last. Valid through 7/9. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
The free iHeartRadio app has over 100 commercial-free stations waiting for you to explore right now, like Pop Rewind, hit music from the 2000s through today. So where's your class if you are wrong? Pink, Ed Sheeran, Taylor Swift, Bruno Mars, Imagine Dragons, and more. I'm in love with the shape of you. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Pop Rewind, and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns.
Well, they call me the fireman. That's my name. Making my rounds all over town, putting out old flames. Well, everybody like to have what I got. I can cool them down when they're smoldering hot. I'm the fireman. That's my name.
Fire Me Up Friday here, coming back with the key. George Strait, the fireman. This was on Cole Dixon's music survey. George Strait was a band or artist that he should have seen live by now. Craig Wegg actually chimed in on the text line saying, nice selection by Cole today. Not sure if 50 Cent would have changed his life, but nice variety. Yep. Cole had picked 50 Cent as a banner artist that had changed his life. I think mine was the Beatles. Like, maybe Kanye West. So close, hey, 50 Cent, Kanye West, they had a kind of a little duel, little beef back in the early 2000s. So kind of fitting. We'll find out Craig's new music survey when he returns back from his sabbatical. Again, every Friday, we'll try and conduct a music survey with a new guest. Of course, next Friday, July 4th, we will not have local programming. So we'll figure something out. Thursday, we may have Andrew Zimmel do it, but we will figure that out. But again, love to hear your thoughts on our text line. Text the word text is 81530, followed by your message, or if you're watching on our live stream, go ahead and comment. Jose Ruiz on our Facebook stream commenting, Craig White is the man listening and watching from Kingsville, Texas. Appreciate you, Jose, and hope you're enjoying your Friday. Thank you to CJ Vogel from On Texas Football for coming on from the Manning Passing Academy in Thibodaux, Louisiana. Boy, it looked hot out there. It's hot here in Austin, but it's a different kind of hot out there in Louisiana. It is super humid, but follow his coverage on ontexasfootball.com. We'll have some great recaps from the weekend, the Manning Passing Academy, where Archie, who's different than Archie, Eli, Peyton, and Cooper, Arch's dad, will be out there, as well as Arch Manning and a lot of the top quarterbacks in the nation. Lenore Sellers is there. John Mateer, the new Oklahoma Sooner quarterback, is there. Sawyer Robertson, the Baylor quarterback, some of the top names in college football attending the Manning Passing Academy. We are going to stick with our football conversation here. Steve Sarkisian, Texas Longhorns head football coach, jumped on the Third and Longhorn podcast. Check him out in the Longhorn Network app. Hosted by Nick Shuley, our good friend. And, of course, you have Rod Babers, Jeremy Hills, Fozzie Whitaker, Alex Okafor, and Derek Johnson, all a part of this interview that came out a few days ago. And Steve Sarkisian went on. And Sark's always a great interview. He's always very generous and gracious with his time, and always brings it. And this was a hell of an interview, hell of a recruiting pitch. We won't play the entire episode, obviously, but wanted to play a couple of sound bites for you. And this is probably the most popular one, where Sark goes on about 3.5 minutes. And if you don't get fired up listening to this, then I don't know what to tell you. But here's Steve Sarkisian on the Third and Longhorn podcast.
Like, I honestly think this is the best place in the country to come play football at. I firmly believe that. And I think we have the stats, the nuances, the information to back that up. Okay. And I'm going to start with football, then I'm going to sweep it. If I know nothing, who's the one school that's gone to back-to-back college football playoffs, back-to-back semifinals?
Red Orange.
Who's the one school their first year in the SEC went to the SEC championship game? Who has the most draft picks in the NFL draft the last 2 years? Okay. Who's had 6 D linemen drafted in the last 3 years, 5 running backs drafted in the last 3 years? Who's had a receiver taken in the first round the last 2 years? Who has the last year signed the number 1 class in the country, the year before that a top 3 class in the country, the year before that a top 5 recruiting class in the country? All the while that's occurring at a top 5 public institution in the United States. All the while being part of an athletic department that's won 4 of the 5 of the last athletic directors' cups. So when you talk about like-minded individuals pushing each other to new heights, and whether it's track and field national championships, rowing, golf, softball, volleyball, women's basketball, Final Four, okay? But all the while, you're doing it in the city of Austin, which, oh, by the way, is the largest city in the U.S. with no pro sports. So no NFL, no Major League Baseball, no NBA. So who are getting those NIL deals?
Right.
Who is the pro sports team?
Yep.
Right? It's the fastest growing economy in the U.S., Austin, Texas. So when you start thinking about it, big picture, and just get out of how much does the contract say, and you start thinking about long term and where's my life going to go, all right, and what's it going to look like when they can get there. Well, maybe we get a guy for a little bit less than another school's offering him. Right? Especially in this day and age, that's got to happen because every Power 4 school's got at minimum that same amount of money. Okay. Yeah. And so if we're trying to assemble a group of talented people, well, every talented people are going to require some money. Well, if I don't have as many talented people, I'm going to have more money to offer Johnny. Well, Johnny has to see the forest through the trees a little bit and say, you know, this is short-term money. I want to look at more of the long-term money. And Texas is going to provide me an opportunity to create more opportunities, whether it's on the field, off the field, degree, NIL, brand building, player development, opportunity in the NFL. What does that look like for me? I've got a lot more lanes, right, to go achieve that than just this spot over here that's got one avenue. We've got a lot of avenues to go come here and be really successful. So there's a lot to it. But like I said, I think we have the best product in the U.S. I don't think there's another school that can say that. And oh, by the way, Forbes magazine last year wrote the new Ivy League.
Drop
So who name another school who's getting compared to Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, but on the flip side is getting compared to Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama on the football field.
We're just going to clip that and use that.
That's the sales pitch. I need Colton to put some church music. I need Colton to drop the mic.
Amen.
Talking about I'm going to move here all over again.
That's the best answer I've ever heard to that question. I've been in the city forever.
It's a good comparison. No pro sports team in the city of Austin yet. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country and one of the best economies in the country. So, hey, someone's got to get those NIL deals, right? Now, of course, maybe Texas is not offering the most amount of money up front compared to like A&M or Oregon or any other school. But you see the value there is what Sark is emphasizing, the long-term value, which is why I think Texas has been able to get some of the top recruits without being the school that's offered them the most amount of money, which is just going to happen. Okay, one other soundbite I wanted to play from Steve Sarkisian's interview with the Third and Longhorn podcast, hosted by Nick Shuley. And again, this is on anywhere you get your podcasts, or also on the Longhorn Network website. When Sark got there in first year, the team GPA 2.33. 0 draft picks, 5-7 record after that first season, to now you got a GPA that's 3.27 team wise. You had 12 draft picks in the college football playoff, back-to-back years in the semis. No other program did that in the last 2 years. This is Sark talking about the rebuild, using team culture, using accountability, and using academics.
I'm not just a football coach. I'm a developer of young men. And so we went back to that team GPA this spring going into that season. CDC gave me my cumulative team GPA. I was only here for the spring, but you took fall and spring was a 2.33. That's not very good. Granted, UT, phenomenal place, top 5 public school, but we go 5-7 that year. We had 0 players drafted. And I remember going to the staff saying, we have a culture problem. I said, we have entitled players who don't take accountability, who are selfish, who don't serve others, couldn't care less about the university itself. They're just focused on me, I. I said, we've got to change the culture, and we have to start from an individual standpoint that everything matters. Everything counts here. School's going to matter. Well, the next spring we had a 2.78 team GPA. We go 8-5. We have 5 guys drafted. The next year we have a 2.98 team GPA. We go 12-2. We win the Big 12. We go to the CFP. We set a school record, 11 guys drafted, 2 first rounders. Going into this past season, we had a 3.27 team GPA. We go 13-3. We're in the SEC championship game. We have 12 guys drafted, 3 first rounders. At the end of this past spring, we have a 3.31 team GPA. So it's like amazing how our wins have increased. Our draft picks have increased, but our GPA's gone up. And so with this whole idea, who you are some of the time is who you are all the time. We don't pick and choose when I'm a Longhorn. It's an all the time thing. And that's why, like, you guys have heard this whole like tough all day mentality that we've embraced here. It's an all the time thing. It's all day long. Like, you just don't get to pick and today I'm going to be responsible, tomorrow I'm not.
Right.
Like, life doesn't work like that. So I think, Pete and Nick get all the credit in the world for giving me an idea of what it looks like, because I do believe teams take on the personality of the head coach. The things that are important to the head coach inevitably are going to come out of the teams and the way that they play and the way they go about life.
Some great stuff there from Steve Sarkisian on the Third and Longhorn podcast. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that first year under Sark. Remember when the Texas social media account put out the team GPA graphic, and I think it was 2.33. The replies weren't great. The replies, now it's switched, because if you go to any Texas A&M post, I think it was the Director's Cup, right? They finished 15th. They posted a graphic saying, hey, we finished 15th in the Director's Cup. Boy, the replies were great. I mean, just get some popcorn and just look at all the Texas fans just absolutely just coming right at A&M. It's flip-flop, because I do remember the 2.33 team graphic. I think sometimes people still post it. It's kind of up there, in Longhorn lore. You have Tom Herman's, P chart, right? Are you a selfish teammate? Is your P orange? Remember that? Remember that graphic or that picture that went online? That was good. That still makes the rounds. Still fantastic, still funny. And then the 2.33 GPA. How things have changed in just 3 years under Steve Sarkisian. Fantastic podcast. Check it out. Third and Longhorn. Great work done by Nick Shuley and the guys, and also on the Longhorn Network website. And maybe we'll play a little bit more of that throughout next week. Okay. Still got about half an hour left here. Some more Arch Manning talk. Bruce Feldman had a fantastic story on Arch Manning. You'll be surprised at the lack of involvement, perhaps, from a couple Mannings in the development of Arch Manning, QB1. Up next, as the Craig Way Show continues on a Fire Me Up Friday.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Austin area weather calling for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low of 74. Partly cloudy tomorrow. We'll see highs in the mid-90s and a low of 73 tomorrow night.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
If you're in the market for a wood fence for your home or business, Viking Fence is the right choice for you. Viking Fence has been in business for over 50 years and takes pride in being the most reliable fence company in Central Texas. Viking Fence does gorgeous work, from simple privacy fences to custom projects. Their quality is unmatched. Viking is the only fence company with their own facility where they custom cut red cedar, the most durable and attractive of fence materials, and offer 3 grades of fence pickets, one for every budget. Compare their lumber against the big box stores. And there is no comparison on quality and price. So whether Viking installs your fence or you're doing it yourself, Viking Fence will ensure your satisfaction. excellent work, great service, and an honest reputation. Call Viking Fence today at 837-6411 for a free estimate or visit their wood fence galleries at vikingfence.com. When you think fence, think Viking.
The riveting podcast, What Happened to Talina Czar, unravels the chilling mystery surrounding a woman's disappearance during the COVID-19 lockdown, the internet sleuths who wouldn't let it go, and the dark subcultures and betrayals they unearthed.
There were a lot of secrets that were very hard to find.
Listen to What Happened to Talina Czar on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Follow What Happened to Talina Czar and start listening on the free iHeartRadio app today.
Summertime is here and it's time to make new memories with adventures the whole family will never forget. At Covert Chevy Hutto, we're your neighbors and your ride is ready. Right now, get $11,139 off MSRP on a new 2025 Chevy Silverado LTZ and $5,427 off MSRP on a new 2025 Chevy Tahoe Premier. Big savings, big memories, only at Covert Chevy Hutto. CovertChevyHutto.com. Together, let's drive.
After 48 years, Factory Mattress is going out of business forever. Over $15 million worth of world-class mattress brands must be sold immediately. Up to 80% off at Austin and San Antonio's largest independent mattress retailer. Everything must go, right down to the bare walls. Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, and Stearns & Foster. No interest financing is still available. The Factory Mattress going out of business sale is happening now at all 14 locations. Don't miss it.
From iHeart Podcast. Before social media, before cable news, there was Alan Berg.
He was the first and the original shock jock.
That scratchy, irreverent kind of way of talking to people and telling them that you're an idiot and I'm going to hang up on you.
This is Live Wire, the loud life and shocking murder of Alan Berg.
And he pointed to the Denver phone book and said, well, there are probably 2 million suspects.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Live Wire, and listen now.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
1971. It was a simpler time, a groovy time. Soul Train had just started chugging along. Everyone had a lava lamp for some reason. Weeble started to wobble, but as we all know, they don't fall down. It's really something. But it wasn't all Weebles and bell-bottoms. There was also the Vietnam War and a growing nationwide movement protesting it. Across the country, people were speaking up, and the more they did, the more they learned about the hidden underbelly of the most powerful law enforcement agency in the land. I'm Ed Helms, host of Snafu, Season 2, Medberg, the story of a daring heist that exposed J. Edgar Hoover's epic FBI snafu. Hear the incredible true story that almost got buried.
I was told that it might not be published the next day or might not be published ever.
As told by the ordinary citizens who took extraordinary measures.
Getting caught was virtually inevitable.
To expose J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI.
Many of the techniques were clearly illegal, but justified in the interest of national security.
If it meant some risks that were involved, well, that's what citizens sometimes have to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. The Longhorns live here.
Wrapping up a Fire Me Up Friday here on the Craig Way Show. Truth by the band Jungle. Jungle was the band or artist, wasn't that surprise me? The one that I think is underappreciated. Love Jungle, a fantastic little alt rock dance band, whatever their genre is. They kind of overlap a couple genres, but love listening to Jungle, and what a better way than on a Fire Me Up Friday. Okay. Before we conclude today's program, just briefly, wanted to talk about and encourage all to check out Bruce Feldman's piece in The Athletic on Arch Manning. A fantastic piece. I know we have talked a lot about Arch Manning on this program. A lot of Texas sites talk about Arch. We're kind of beating it to death at a certain point, and it's almost time to just go out there and play football, right? Let's see what the kids got. But there was some really good antidotes in this article. There's always the good ones about how as a kid, he wasn't into video games or anything else. He just wanted to go outside and play football. He wanted to shoot hoops, wanted to throw the ball back and forth with his dad. And, some other stuff about, I think there's always this, at least for me, when the Arch Manning recruitment heated up, I was like, man, he probably is out there throwing footballs with Peyton and Eli all the time. They're going through film 24/7. They're doing this and that. Not really the case, right? And I think most Texas fans kind of know that. And I'm assuming the national media kind of thinks, oh, yeah, Arch and Eli and Peyton, they're all hanging out. But, what Feldman's piece really hits on is that, it really wasn't, Cooper and Eli, or sorry, Peyton and Eli that, developed Arch. Obviously, it was more of his dad and his mom, Ellen. And in fact, Cooper talks about how, Eli didn't really even come to any of his high school football games. Peyton may have come one or two. The only times they really, were together would be at the Manning Passing Academy. And, you might see him at Mardi Gras. But, Cooper talks about in this article, really 5 nights a year, Arch and Cooper and Peyton were around each other because think about it, Peyton and Eli, obviously, playing in the NFL, they have a lot of media responsibilities, a lot going on. So, it wasn't like Peyton and Eli were at every single high school football practice, dropping back and working with Arch Manning. So a lot of his game is kind of not crafted after, but a lot of it's come from Cooper and his mom, Ellen. And Cooper says, hey, his speed comes from his mom, Ellen. And Ellen says that Cooper really taught Arch how to play football. A couple other notes from this article by Bruce Feldman in The Athletic that, I really liked. They talked about, this past season in how Arch just was not a big social media guy. Obviously, we all think about the tweet, when he announced his commitment to Texas. And I think most people, it was a lot like, when Shams tweeted out that Luka was traded to the Lakers. You're thinking, okay, is this a fake account? Like this account that has no post is all of a sudden saying I'm committed to Texas. And of course, it came out and was true. But, Art's not a big social media guy, and that comes from the way he was raised. His parents talked about in this article that, until high school, he had to turn his phone into his parents, and at 11 o'clock, he had curfew and stuff, and it's kind of translated to where, he is now. He's only got, 16 posts on Instagram. He's got 4 tweets, and how much of that is just stuff for NIL and in his endorsements. So, that's something that I found interesting from this article. Another thing I really like too is talked about Arch's work ethic. And Cooper said that the area Arch needs to grow the most since coming to Austin was his independence. As a kid, Arch struggled getting up early, whether for school or for an 8 a.m. baseball tournament. And he said that when he got to Austin, Arch quickly learned he needed to take initiative. Quote, when you don't have someone nagging you who is going to bail you out, all of a sudden you got to grow up. So Arch, began to take that initiative during his time at Texas. And he talked about with his father, Cooper, Kelvin Banks, of course, the first-round draft pick to New Orleans Saints, Longhorn legend. He would always gush to his dad, Cooper, about Kelvin Banks and how he was maybe the best teammate he's ever going to have because Kelvin Banks was always one of the first guys there. 6 a.m. workouts, Kelvin's the first one in there. So Arch wanted to try and beat them. And so he would beat there maybe 10 minutes early. Well, guess what? Kelvin was there 30 minutes earlier. It was like this unspoken rule that no one is going to be in there before me. And Arch said that really rubbed off on him, the Kelvin Banks's work ethic. And we're seeing Arch kind of roll, maybe model his work ethic after. And that kind of goes back to what we talked about in the last segment with Steve Sarkisian in that culture. How many guys do you think were showing up to the practice to workouts super early? There's probably a couple. Maybe Jordan Whittington, right? Guys like that. Now, this roster, I'm sure there's a couple guys who are late. Doesn't mean they're bad for the culture. It's just some people are like that. But you think about the work ethic this team has had and shown, the way Sark and his guys gush about it, it's completely flipped in the last couple of years. And I think that work initiative that we see here in this article from Bruce Feldman about Arch is why so many of his teammates are drawn to him. So really excited to see Arch Manning in this first season. Again, Bruce Feldman article in The Athletic. I encourage you to check it out, called Raising Arch. Arch at the Manning Passing Academy this weekend. We'll have more to come on that next week as well. I believe he will speak with the media at some point. But we'll be back to wrap up today's program here on The Craig Way Show.
Text Texas, followed by your message to 81530 to chat along with your favorite sports radio AM 1300 The Zone hosts. That's Texas, followed by your message to 81530. Standard data and message rates may apply.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800. And you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded for well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Dick's epic 4th of July sale is on. Get summer ready with 25% off select Stanley drinkware. Get 20% off Igloo coolers and water bottles and select bog bags. Buy one, get one 50% off DSG coolers, canopies, chairs, and water bottles. $200 off Callaway AI smoke irons and TaylorMade QI10 drivers. These deals won't last. Stock up for summer now, in-store or online at Dicks.com. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is coming back to Las Vegas September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com. Get your tickets today. AXS.com.
Buying a new car might make you say,
I can't believe it.
Seriously, it's ours?
Is this real life?
But what you really need to say is, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there to help you choose the coverage you need.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, cheers to savings.
In today's Marketers Report, Erica Taylor, Chief Marketing Officer of Genentech, weighs in on audio's ability to reach any audience.
Everyone is listening somewhere, somehow. So it's a great way to take something very precise in what we're trying to do to reach patients with something that I think we can all agree is somewhat broad in reaching many, many different audiences.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia can get more people to hear your message than anyone else. For better results for every budget, visit iHeartAdvertising.com.
4th of July savings are here at the Home Depot with up to 40% off, plus up to an extra $600 off select appliances with free delivery like GE Profile. Simplify your routine with GE Profile appliances, from refrigerators with autofill pitchers and multiple dispensing options to all-in-one washer-dryer combos that can wash and dry a full load in under 2 hours. Shop 4th of July savings on top brand appliances now at the Home Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us here on this Friday afternoon. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Special thanks to our guests who stopped by on today's program, including Donnavan Smoot from the Deep 3 podcast. Check that out on our Craig Way Show podcast page on the free iHeart Radio app or anywhere you get your podcasts from. Fun talk. They're talking about the NBA draft. Trey Johnson's in Washington and also his outlook on the Texas team. Some big moves made by Mavericks. Cooper Flag, the Mavericks were able to capture. Like also CJ Vogel from On Texas Football stopped by from the Manning Passing Academy, where Arch Manning is currently at QB1 for Texas. So a fun show. Cole Dixon, thanks so much, Cole Dixon, for stopping by and doing our music survey. Due to copyright infringement issues, we cannot post that on our podcast page, but it is on our YouTube channel. So check out AM 1300 The Zone on YouTube. Subscribe. It's a great place. We'll see my interviews with CJ and Donnie up there. You'll also be able to see Cole Dixon's music. That's it for this week. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. We will be back Monday here on the Craig Way Show. Stay cool, y'all.